Chat, what's good? What's good? Welcome back to another episode of the Kingsley TV stream. Happy Friday, y'all. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. We got a special one today. We got another guest. Normally we got Anson Henry on the lives, and we always have good spirited debates. But today we bring in someone new in, and he's another track and field fan. He goes by the name of Coach Rob. He's got a really prominent YouTube channel, so y'all should check him out. I'm just gonna wait for him to get in here before we get started. But as you guys funnel in, just let me know where you're watching from, where you're tapped in from. And I got my Canada shirt on. My son goes to Montverde, and they had a diversity fest tonight, so had to represent Canada. He, was out there with his flag, his Canadian flag, representing. Even though he's American too, he still represent the Maple Leaf, man. Stay true to his parents' roots. But y'all don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying these lives. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And, we're going to have a great episode. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the future state of pro track and field. Coach Rob has a lot of opinions. I got a lot of opinions. We got new leagues this year in 2025. We saw Athlos in its second year. We saw Grand Slam track. We're just excited for new stuff. Next year in 2026, we got the Ultimate Championships coming in. We're just going to talk about that and all the good things going on with pro track and field. But let me check on Coach Rob. Make sure that he's got the link. And we got some more people coming in. And y'all, let me throw this up real quick. Just for the culture, go ahead, like this video so it gets out to more people. Lets me know that you enjoy the lives. You want me to keep doing them. And of course, subscribe. Join me on the way to 50,000 subscribers, y'all. Trying to grow this thing out. Grow out my brand. But we got some comments. Satoshi, faithful YouTube subscriber. So shout out to you, Satoshi. He said, "What's up, Aaron?" I'm saying, "What's up?" right back. Pontiac. Hey, bro. Rep Kansas. Bless up. Kansas. Okay. That's dope. Jayhawk County. That's dope. Got a great show for y'all. Just waiting for Coach Rob to jump in. Let me make sure he's got that link. But y'all let me know, what was your favorite moment of 2025 so far? The season officially ended now that Athlos is done. So y'all let me know, what was your favorite moment? As I make sure that Coach Rob has the link. Gmail. Let's see. Coach Rob. Make sure. Okay. More people come in. Y'all make sure you comment. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I have to trim this one at the beginning. I might just hop in and start the conversation. And then when he gets in, I'll just start again. Hold on. Let me just make sure he's got the link before I get started. I appreciate y'all for tuning in on a Friday night. Now y'all got a lot you could be doing. He's fixing his setup, he said. I'm going to send him the link again. MJW winning gold. Yeah, for me, that was one of my favorite moments too. Her season was so historic. And I don't think a lot of people realize how good it was. And she's so humble. I don't feel like she gets the credit she deserves. She should be a way bigger star than she is. But she's getting her shine, which is good to see. It's just I wish, she should be at like 1 million followers right now, to be honest. But it wasn't an Olympic year, which sucks. But that's just the state of pro track and field. You know what I mean? Okay, here we go. There he is. Coach Rob, what's good? What's good?
Hey, another day, another dollar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a good episode for y'all. Coach Rob is in the building. He, if y'all don't know, he has his own channel on YouTube. Y'all go subscribe to that. I got a graphic that I wanted to show just to shout you out a little bit.
Hey, but I mean, you're the medalist, man. I mean, I know gold is what we were going for. Didn't
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
go
yeah.
that way, but you got close.
It got close. It got close. We're the first losers, but um, there you go. Coach Rob on track and field. Coach Rob track and field on YouTube. So y'all go ahead and go subscribe. Check out his stuff. He's got some good content out there. Just tell us about you a little bit before we get started for my audience that might not be familiar and the kind of stuff they can expect on your channel.
Well, the best way I can put it, and first, let me back up. Appreciate you for having me.
Of course.
Truly a pleasure, to be in the midst of a legend. I think you're 7 medals in now on the world stage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
7 medals in. So there you have it. And what I would say is I stumbled in the direction of commenting on professional track and field. I have some other things going on. I'm in the track and field space. And I just kind of realized after a while that nobody really talked about the sport with, how do I put it, kind of keeping the same energy that we do for other sports. Now,
Right.
granted, I recognize that it's kind of hard to talk about track and field. You kind of have to focus on a specific component, if that makes sense, like
Mm.
whether it's sprints or what have you. But so I'm more sprints than anything else. But I just try to keep the energy that if you know a Stephen A. Smith or anybody like that, I try to keep that exact same momentum as we talk about this. So let's talk about these races like they actually matter.
Right. That's what's up. All right, let's get into this. I got a lot of stuff I want to chat about, and it's a Friday night, so we gotta make sure that we get it all in. First up, let me get my banner real quick. The future of pro track and field. That's kind of the basis for this episode.
Okay.
But I want to start with Athlos in year 2 and Grand Slam track in year 1. First off, just give me your quick thoughts on how you thought each of them did. Obviously Grand Slam track didn't get all the way through, but yeah, go ahead.
You want to do both back to back?
Let's start with Athlos since it's the last one that happened. Kind of was the crescendo of the season.
Well, Athlos year 2. I mean, we saw it 2 years in a row, so I think I would say this one, I don't know if some people would say it was bigger and better, and I guess maybe you could say that because they kept the momentum from the first one and carried it forward into, taking, I'll say, the spectacle and maintaining it and perhaps even elevating it, which was a little interesting because they pulled that off without actually, I guess, what's the word? Like the field in terms of like the big names.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were supposed to run, then didn't run. Then there are those who were affiliated but didn't run. There were those who were never ever supposed to run. We just wish we would have seen them. Yeah. So there's that piece because track and field has been that for so long. So I think what Athlos has nailed, I'll say this much, because everything has positives and negatives. But I think the thing that they nailed so far is that I'll say this. This is how I'm clarifying my statements. If you ever wanted to know what a track and field all-star game looks like, it looks like Athlos.
Okay.
That's what I think they've nailed. Mm-hmm. Now, everything else, there's conversations we had on a bunch of different things because I have a very, detailed or analytical and again, I'm one guy. It's just that I don't come from the track community. Right. While you were running World Juniors, I was hooping.
Yeah.
That's where I came from.
Yeah.
So when I look at our sport, I just see an infrastructure issue. Everybody else thinks we have an exposure issue. I don't think that's the problem. It's an infrastructure issue. If you don't cook the meat well, it don't matter what sauce or what seasoning you put on it.
Yeah.
And we haven't cooked a strong enough core meal, or for that matter, even just the meat. I don't think it's been cooked well enough in the pro segment.
Right.
But Athlos nailed, to me, at the bare minimum, I can say, if you take what they just gave us and use that same framework and say this is an all-star game, we have it.
Okay.
So that's my review on Athlos from year 1 to year 2.
Well, okay, so you're comparing it to the all-star game, but to me, that could be a good and a bad thing. It could be good in the sense that you're gathering everybody and it's like a spectacle and it's something that people want to watch and it's entertaining. But it could be bad in the sense that if you compare it to the NBA all-star game, people don't really try that hard, and that's the thing is they don't think it's real basketball. And then the NFL is a joke now. It's like flag football. So, I think a lot of the criticism that people give with an Athlos is it's too much of a party and it's too much of a let's just show up and celebrate the women type of thing, not so much like heavy duty track and field, even though we got some good performances. Like Tara Davis Woodall jumped out the pit, she tied the world lead, and Brittany Brown PR'd. But, you know, for the most part, some of them came and ran just to show up to get a check and just pull up and have fun. And, you know, it was basically like an extended off season. Just
yeah. I mean, they had a Sierra concert.
Yeah. Yeah. Sierra concert, you know, they wanted to get a free front row ticket. But, you know, if we want to expand this thing going into year 3, and, you know, Alexis has been saying that, like, he wants this to actually be a legit thing for track and field and revolutionize it on the pro side. You know, they're coming with the team-based aspect next year. So what can they do for them to be taken more seriously?
Well, what they can do and what they will do are 2 different things.
Okay.
So what they've spoken about, because I've tried to listen closely when he was on Ready, Set, Go. So, you know, for those who didn't watch it, Alexis Ohanian went on Ready, Set, Go. He gave it to Rodney and to Justin and, you know, broke things down. Now, he went way more in depth than I thought he would, to be quite frank.
Right.
I was wondering, like, where is he going to go with this hour? And he went there to some degree. He didn't give us, I would say, particulars, but he gave us an overview. So I understand his vision for the Formula One of track and field. And I'm like, okay, I could get behind that. But all of these things that we're talking about, whether it's Athlos or Grand Slam, which we'll get to in a different, you know, moment, everybody has a vision, and I can kind of see where they're getting the idea that thing could be the solution. But there are too many variables that they cannot control. That as a result, you're kind of betting that these things will go your way. Right. So for the league, like for example, the whole October thing, this is me. I'm gonna be crazy for a moment. So you tell me if you think this is gonna happen.
Okay.
Do you actually believe? Because this is how it works. The only way Athlos becomes a pro league that is respected is you have to get the athletes to show up and run like it matters. Now, so far I'm on base.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so that means it can't be a warm up for Worlds. And it can't be a thing we're ramping down like Worlds already happened. I'm just on a victory lap tour. Yeah. Nobody else's pro sport that is a pro sport looks like this. Like when you're a pro, I'm gonna say the offensive part out loud. You're supposed to be like, you know, I guess take pride in the pro part. Like that's how it goes. That means you do things that only pros do. When you show up to World and there's a college kid and a high school kid, and so like let's focus on the women. I lost some respect for the World Championships as a pro product, aside from the fact that it's not actually. When I realized that, because I'm the guy who does high school national rankings, and I saw Adeja Hodge, shout out to her, who was a high school recruit. She's running for Florida-based high school. She goes over to the Olympics. And comes back to American high school, so she run not for America, she was running for British Virgin Islands. So she comes back to America. She was a semifinalist at the Olympics, like repechage rounds, all of that. So she gets that far, goes back to high school, runs through the season, and then loses to a girl who's still a high school. At that time, she was a high school sophomore, about to go up to junior year. I mean, whatever. She loses to her at the New Balance Outdoor National Meet. Remember, you an Olympian. Yeah. And she lost to a high school girl who's like 15. Yeah. And then she goes to Worlds. Yep. So don't tell me we're watching the best pros, because we're not. Okay. We weren't even watching the best high school girl.
But do you consider Worlds and Olympics to be professional? Because I don't. I think they're separate. Because you can have amateurs go there and then still be in high school or college of what we've seen. So I don't put them in the same bucket, even though a lot of people blur the two. I think that's what holds us back from being seen as an actual professional league, is that blurred line of what's actually professional.
I mean, Kyra Jefferson said it. I don't know if you heard her quote, which was, track and field is not a pro sport. It's an amateur sport with professional athletes in it. And then, Noah Lyles, he, said it the same way. On their podcast Beyond the Records. Him and Rye was like, I'm a pro athlete, And, like, what do you mean I'm a pro? I get paid to run track. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, we're general contractors. Like, we're not pros, like, not in the grand scheme. Like, I've just always said that, like, it's pretty clear that for all the pro leagues, pick a sport, any sport, soccer, MMA, basketball, football, baseball. I mean, like, all you have to do is set up guardrails that say, these are the people who are the pros because they're on my stage. And these are the ones who are not. They're not on my stage. It's that simple. Yeah. Track and field doesn't have any space. I see college kids on the Diamond League. I've seen them in lanes wearing college kits. So at that point, don't tell me the Diamond might have pro elements. Yeah. But it can't be a pro league. By definition, if you're letting non-pros in, that's why I think like having those barriers, that I think once those barriers are up, the athletes have to take pride in being in that thing. Right. They can't go out and run and then say, I'm warming up for something else. And that's the culture shift that track is going to struggle with from the top down. That's why I think it might have to happen from the bottom up. Because from the top down, it's like, especially if you're not American, because we have just way too much talent. So for us, it's easier to kind of lead an insurrection in theory from the bottom. But like, I know for other nations, and maybe you can speak to this, because I recognize that to some degree, like perhaps you're almost like a national hero in Canada. It's like, hey, they brought the gold home to Canada. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like, Noah Lyles did not bring anything home to us with that 4x1 victory. Just being real. That was for him and his sponsor. Nobody cared that they won. Like, when I say nobody, I mean it was like a blurb on ESPN under the Olympic sports section. So it didn't. Remember, ESPN doesn't even have a track and field widget. It doesn't exist. Yeah. They got like 29 options. I counted. Yeah. When you click on show all sports, and track is not one of them.
So they don't even have an Olympics section?
Like, they have an Olympic sports section, of which, like, when Worlds was going on, because I was tracking all of this, I'm watching, news stories for, who's going to be on the bobsled team. And what's happening at Eurobasket. Damn. And all of that. Like, all of that is showing up while y'all are running. Remember, Cole Hocker wins the 5K. He didn't even get a blurb. Yeah. They never mentioned him on ESPN. He won gold. Yeah. And they said nothing. Like, because they're only tracking the big stories. Like, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden ran so fast that they had to, at some point, like, say her name. Okay. But they would rather just because, like, what's happening is we're kind of following individuals who we think have a high Q rating. This is what I'm deducing analytically. So it's like, Sha'Carri losing a race is more of a story than someone else winning. For sure. Yeah. And that's problematic, but it's not her fault. It's just the lack of infrastructure. That's why everybody thinks we need to get casual fans. We don't need casual fans. We need actual fans who want to watch track to have something to watch. Trust me. If all the fast people got together and said, we're all going to run over here, we'd watch. That's all you got to do. Like, all y'all just got to decide where you're going, and our eyes will go there. Yeah. So, let's get back to the Grand Slam. We can do it like this. So, what do you think Grand Slam track did right versus what they could learn from? Like, compare and contrast them versus Athlos. Like, what did each one do right? Aside from, obviously, well, I mean, you can include that, but like paying the athletes right away. Obviously, that's a huge conversation. Yeah, that's a huge thing. But even with that, like, a lot of people don't understand that, like, the entire pro track and field world pays late. And I put out a tweet. Matter of fact, let me throw it up because I have that graphic. Because I feel like when I put that out, a lot of people had no idea that they all pay late. And I can't find where I put it, but is this it? No. Anyways, forget it. I basically just said that hey, all the leagues pay late, but they're gonna have to take your word for it. For the people
they all pay late. I said basically I said Diamond League watching Grand Slam track take all the heat for paying late when they've been paying small prize purses late for years. And a lot of people were replying to that like they had no idea that the Diamond League plays late. They just assumed that it was on time, especially since it's like peanuts compared to what Grand Slam was offering. But right now, the status quo in track and field is you're going to get your money late. So when you run a race and you win your prize money, you don't expect that for at least like month and a half to like 3 months. That's just the norm. So when Athlos came with the Cash App stuff, that was like a game changer. And I know they're being a little petty, trying to like throw shade at Grand Slam for their, problems that they had. But like that was actually a huge thing to actually makes us more professional. So I think that's one thing that they did do well. What else do you think that Athlos did well that Grand Slam can learn from, and vice versa, in terms of like the viewer experience? What did you like better about each one?
Well, let's go back to the money even, because that's a separate, once you frame the Cash App thing, and I haven't said this part on camera, so here we go. Let's do this. All right, strap on your seatbelts. In track and field, here's the joke of where we're starting the negotiations from. So let's put the facts on the board. Let's put them on the board. How much money did Brittany Brown make for winning 2 races? What, with 120K plus a crown or 2, right?
Yep, 2 crowns.
Shout out to her. All right, then. Now, we've established that. How much money is LeBron about to make for every game he's not going to play? Now that he's out. He's going to make 4 times that for not playing games. Right. Because he has a salary.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm not going to consider Cash App a victory. Because she had to win to get that money.
Okay.
So what if she didn't win? What if she was 100 of a second too slow in that 100? Then what? That money wouldn't look the same way.
No.
Again, pro sports don't work like that.
Interesting.
That's not how it goes. You don't.
That's right. That's true.
If I'm already, the thing is, the people came to watch Sha'Carri. Let's just play this out, using her as an argument in the women's world. Okay. They're here to watch her.
Yeah.
That's what the appearance fees were for, right?
Right.
But the appearance fee isn't for me as a fan.
No.
It's for her.
Yeah.
Now, the reason we're doing appearance fees is because there's no league, there's no structure, there's no collective bargaining, there's no, like, none of these things are in place.
Yeah.
And all of that's going to happen outside of World Athletics. World Athletics been doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to put on international competition. The difference is literally nobody has figured out how to do anything besides them. And whenever they try to copy something or try to create something, they try to like do it in alignment with them. But as far as this money piece is concerned, we're getting excited over running our behinds off to make less money than somebody else can get to not play.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have, like, when he's out injured, he's never going to play that game. That game's done. It's over. Yeah. Like, he's not going to play that game, and it's still going to hit his account. And guess what? He's going to get paid on the 1st and the 15th.
Yeah. So that could be something that you give Grand Slam track an advantage over, because they paid all their racers. Basically, they show up and they get paid no matter how well they do. As long as they show up, they get their fee that they agreed upon before the season. So that's as close to a salary as we've got.
Yeah, I think that was a step in the right direction with where they were trying to go.
Yeah,
but I think, well, to get to the away from the money, just the core experience, I think Athlos did the fanfare and the hype and the excitement on 10. Do I think that's sustainable? I don't. And when I say sustainable, I mean, how do I put this? Let's just say that they did this every meet. Every meet was going to be a party. Every meet was going to be, Ciara and, what's the
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion. Like, every meet's going to be that. Let's just say that's what we did.
Okay.
Eventually, it will get stale.
Yeah.
It won't maintain the novelty factor is what made it we got to be there. Trust me. Marquez Brownlee and all them folk who showed up ain't coming every single time you do this. If y'all want to do this week in, week out.
Yeah.
It gets stale really fast. So I think GST as a track product, 2 things can be true. Where they struggled with viewership, that is true. They struggled with getting live fans who would pay to come. That is true. But it's also true that they gave us the best track product, professional track product from the American context. Let me say that, from the American context, that you can watch from start to finish as a sporting event.
I agree.
I think Grand Slam, I'm like, I'll leave that part out. I even got to go there. I'll just say that part, I think they nailed, as far as like they were trying to build something that was taking us towards consistent professional competition where you actually came to watch track. I'm going to say the offensive part out loud. People did not come to Athlos to watch track. That's not why everybody was there. Some people did. That's not why everybody was there. It was an event. It was a party. It was the place to be. It didn't matter who was in the lanes at that point. It had been hyped. It had been pushed. You know, you call in your contacts. Oh, this person's coming. That one's coming. It was an all-star game.
Yeah.
For an all-star game, I think they killed it.
Yeah.
And the all-star weekend in the NBA is one of their biggest events.
Yeah.
Even though the NBA players stopped caring, but like it's still
people still want to come to see the stars. They still want to see Steph Curry in person and LeBron and KD.
If everything, that's why I'm like, they gave us that energy, but GST was not trying to be an all-star game. They were trying to actually give us real competition. So I think that's kind of where they both, like, maybe Athlos did more of the icing on the cake, but I think Grand Slam Track baked a better cake, both of which have had flaws. Both, and a lot of that came because they were trying to be way too friendly to the current establishment, which is understandable. I totally understand why they felt they needed to do so and try to figure out how to move within that system. That's why I said, if you're gonna, if you got to know where the end goal is that all the real pros need to be able to wake up in the morning in the beginning of January and say, we are preparing for this, that, and the third. These are all professional events. I know that when I show up here, I'm getting paid. Yeah, that we can add bonuses and stuff in there for winning. But it needs to, basically every race needs to be a race of consequence. There are no warm-ups, no more scrimmages. Shut that down. Nobody want to watch y'all run in the Continental Tour and Miramar. No, nobody want to see this. These are just live scrimmages. That's what they are. And we're pretending that they're races. They're not. Because the only race that matters, everybody keeps telling me, is the Worlds. Am I missing something here? Worlds and Olympics are the things that matter. Yeah. Because in 2023, if I'm remembering correctly, Noah Lyles barely won any 100-meter races until that final.
He got third at trials. Barely made the team.
But he opened the season losing to a high school kid. Yeah. Why is the world champion in the 100 running with a high schooler at a sprint series meet? Make it make sense. Why is the Diamond League final champion this year losing to a high school kid at a sprint series meet? Again, this is where where we've been. Like, the guardrails need to come up. So GST, I think, did that piece, and I think Athlos did the other side.
Okay. So if you could grade them, what would you give each one?
Actually, you know what? Because you've been asking me a lot of questions. I'm going to turn that one back. What would you give?
Okay. I would give Athlos, if I'm just going off of track and field, I would give Athlos a B plus.
Okay, so like a 7.5 or 8?
As a what?
Like out of 10, that's like a 7.5, 8.
B plus. Yeah, look at it. I guess that's like an 8.
Wow.
Because, no, I give him an 8.5. So what's that? An A minus?
8.5. Well, I mean, it depends. I feel like when you're on a 1 to 10 scale, like I kind of look at it differently than like the letter grades.
Yeah,
but I feel you. Okay.
Yeah, I think they did a lot of things right, and I'm curious to see how next year looks with the team product, which is where I'm going to go after this. But I think the only, like, I'll just focus on the criticisms because I've already given them their praise. Them being in October just screams exhibition to me. You know, like, when everyone's coming into the meet expecting everyone to be like, you know, I don't know what shape they're going to be in. It's just about, you know, having fun, make sure you don't get injured. And then you got athletes pulling out because they don't want to overextend themselves. Like, Melissa definitely wanted to run. She's been talking about it all season long. But then after she did what she did at Worlds, you know, I'm sure coach got in her ear, her agent, or whoever, and was like, hey, we don't need to risk it. We don't need to be running there. And, you know, she had to make a business decision. Yeah, she still pulled up and, you know, was giving interviews and stuff. Kudos to her and Athlos for still getting her involved. But, like, I would have loved to see her continue to run on higher stakes. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather see her run at Athlos for 60 bands where it's like a higher prize purse. And, you know, I think the higher the money, the more the stakes. Like, it seems like they take it more seriously. At least that's the prevailing thought that you would expect. Like, you know, when you pull up to a Diamond League, you're taking more seriously than you go to Claremont because there's money on the line. But I think because it's in October, that same competitive mentality wasn't there. So like a Messiah Russell, she definitely wanted to win because she wanted revenge for last year. You could see it in her eyes that she wanted to compete. But I think in certain events, you didn't get that, where they were just like, I'm just going to show up and run whatever I got. I didn't really train for this, and I don't really care if I lose. And I don't like that element. I want this to actually matter, So that's why I can't give it higher than an 8.5. Like all the entertainment stuff, the fun, the partying, the intro videos and the atmosphere, all that was great. Being in Times Square for the long jump, giving them a little love. I loved all that. But like in terms of just pure track and field, like some people came and took it seriously. Like Brittany Brown clearly was on a bean. She wanted that money. But then you got people in the race that were just kind of like mailing it in. And
she understood the assignment, Brittany Brown.
Right. And it's a lot of money.
In the past, she profited from it last year. She's like, oh, we could do this again.
Right. She doubled last year and she doubled again this year. She clearly is like, all right, let me get this back.
Like, I don't even know why they do that.
I don't know, but
it's unfair. Nobody, am I right? Nobody else did.
Talu did.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at that point, you're giving away money. I mean, like,
but I think the reason why a lot of athletes didn't run, or at least let me not say a lot, but like a Sha'Carri or a Melissa didn't run is because it's in October. So just that simple move of switching it into a time during the calendar where everyone's fit, everyone's showing up, everyone's serious about it, adds more gravitas to the meet. Grand Slam track, I would give a 9, so slightly higher, because I think in terms of track and field, they, like you said, were a more polished product. People actually understood a little bit more what this was in terms of like competitive track and field, because you had the racer element where you had people who you knew were going to show up to each one. And then you had the challengers, which gave a little bit of a surprise element, where it's like, okay, who's going to come and be a challenger? It would have been nice if you could have more people on board with that. Like if some more of the stars were challengers, then it would have been really popping. But I think, in its debut season, people were trying to feel it out, and people are obviously like Arai was on the podcast talking about, I don't know how they're going to sustain themselves with this model. And so people are skeptical. So maybe that's why they didn't, get on board fully. They wanted to see how it went. But for the stars who did show up, they all loved it. And I went to Philly, and it was a great meet. The atmosphere was great. I loved the fact that they like made it very athlete centered. With the social media and getting your content real quick so you can post, and they just did a lot of little things right. That is simple stuff, but like for the athletes, it's a huge upgrade versus what we've been getting overseas. And just having meets in America, not having to get on a 8-hour plane ride going to Asia or going to Europe, having to compete for 10,000 at most, which isn't even really 10,000 when you take off the taxes and the agent fees. It just doesn't make sense to go all the way over there. So like having this opportunity, I would give them a 9. Obviously it wasn't perfect, and I have to dock them a little bit for not being able to have LA. That's poor planning. But just a pure like track and field, when we did get that product, I think it was slightly better than Athlos.
Yeah, I mean, I respect how you see it, and I can understand like all the athletes who I speak to are in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you all have perspective that obviously I don't have because you're in it. But then again, because I'm outside of it,
yeah,
I see it from dropped back. So because I know what I think a 10 is, and I'll reverse engineer again for the people in the back. Okay. This is what a 10 is. Does anybody think that the World Championship final with the race people were not taken seriously?
No.
So if you were in that 4x1 final, that 100 final, that 200 final, or in third event here,
that was it. Yeah.
You were going all out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you had a little bit of a nick, but you was like, look, it's Worlds.
Yeah.
It's the final.
Yeah.
We gonna go.
Yeah.
Put some icy hot on it if you have to.
Yeah.
Like, let's roll.
Cut it off. Let me go. Put me back in.
Right. So if that's if that's a 10, if that's on competition.
Right.
And I'll actually even argue it's not a 10. Olympics is a 10. World is a 9.
Okay.
And
from the audience standpoint?
I mean, on both accounts. Because okay, let's be real. If you just pulled up in the Olympic Games and won golds, but more or less was making finals, didn't really win much in the Worlds. You see what I'm saying? Like that's your report. Are you still going to go down as one of the greats because you did in 2 Olympics? Yes.
Yeah.
So all you really got to do is get it right in LA 2028. And now I'm going to say this part. I'm not trying to call people out. I understand why it was said, but here's the problem. I turn on the coverage because I have Peacock. You know, I'm watching the stream and I'm turning on the coverage to watch the world start. This is the beginning of it. And you know how they do like the opening with Otto and, you know, like the team. And it wasn't Otto saying it, but you know, it's one of the, you know, people who, you know, is on the, I guess the name is escaping me at the moment. But like if I saw him, like I can identify. So the point is the language they used was, this championship is one of the first major steps on the way to LA 2028. So what you just announced is I'm about to watch the JV championship. This ain't the real.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. Yeah.
They said it out. Or now, does it have to be that? No.
No.
But then let me back up. I looked at other sports and I started determining how they were doing it. Remember, they have a World Cup for basketball, but it ain't the Olympics.
Nope.
America sends our JV. That's what we do. When the World Championship for basketball comes, we send our JV. No shade, just being honest. Paolo Banchero, whoever else, y'all could go. But when the Olympics came, Steph Curry.
The Avengers.
Like, yeah, we sent the Avengers. But we sent the JV when we went to the World Championship. So if that's a 10 and not, I can't put GST in them that high.
Okay.
Because I got to know what we were trying to reach for. To
Fair
give
enough.
me a 10, I'd have to see a pro product where it felt like they were trying that hard.
Okay.
And I know they weren't.
Yeah. Okay.
So
well,
I'd say Athlos, I'm gonna give it. I mean, I'm gonna be generous. I'll give them a 6.
Okay.
But if that's the scale, that was a 6 because you can't have all these people.
Yeah.
Not pulling up. I'm supposed to pull up. I'm not pulling up. Whatever. Like, because here's the thing. Like, and this is not a disrespect. I'm just pointing it out. If Athlos mattered, Gabby Thomas would have ran if she were able to. She could have missed Worlds and still came back for that because that's what pros do. Remember the
Megan
WNBA
Tapper did that.
Yeah, like the WNBA goes on break.
Yeah.
For the Olympics, they do. They take a break and then come back and have their season. So if you were on the Olympic team for the Team USA or whatever, and you were a WNBA player, and somehow you got hurt, you would get healthy and then come back and play the rest of your season.
Yeah.
So that's how we know it can't be that. And so I'd give it a 6. And I'm looking at the comments. I was trying to be generous. So I wanted to say 5.5, but I feel like they're going to really come for me. So I was like, oh, 5. Okay, I'll give them a 6. And GST, I would say, is definitely higher, but I'm actually only going to give it a 7.
Okay.
Maybe 7.5, because like I do see like I feel like the gap between Athlos and that on importance of what the race is represented is just that even I think I still have to say 7. And the reason is because I see the GST model, I see how a few different changes to that model severely changes how everybody understands what it was.
Yeah.
And the product now goes to that, top tier.
Okay.
But anything that becomes one-off events, unless you are going to announce and market and push and get the athletes on board to believe that one-off event is the event. And I think that's what hurt Athlos to me. If not that hurt them as in like they did it to themselves, but like I think that was the glitch where I don't think anybody really believed that this race mattered, although it had a bunch of money behind it. And that's why I lean away from the money being the stakes. Gotcha. Because nobody was dogging it at Worlds. They all tried. Whereas Amy Hunt clearly got up for Worlds, but I don't think Amy Hunt came in her best form for Athlos. And I think she was content with that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think she went to sleep at night like, man, I really didn't run my best race at Athlos. I think she's like, I ran Athlos.
But okay, so what would it take? Because I agree with your take. And from that perspective, yeah, I would have to lower my rankings for sure, like a lot, probably closer to what you gave them. But I was coming from, I guess, the status quo, and how much it goes. That's why mine are so much higher. But from what you said, yeah, it makes sense. But do you think that a lot of people take Worlds more seriously, Worlds specifically, not the Olympics, but Worlds, because it's written in the contracts that you get the bonuses, and that like if you go back to the Diamond League, like having a medal changes everything for you. So if you get it right at like let's say you did what Brittany Brown did at Athlos, but then you don't medal at World Championships, next year when you come back, your profile isn't elevated like it is if you win the World Championships, like Amy Hunt did. Like Amy Hunt's stock is still going to be higher, even though she got cooked at Athlos.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, and you're an athlete, so you can speak to it from the inside. I think what the temperature on the ground from the athletes I speak to is like 100% that the contract structures are weighted that way. But again, the contract structures will catch up when they are forced to catch up. Right. Nike ain't changing how they move.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to be backed into a corner to do so. But remember, the athletes have the power, but they only have it when they move together. They don't have power when they move independently. Yeah. So then how do we do that? And because of the internationalized model and how things, because everybody's thinking that we're all in this together, but no, we're not. I'm sorry. No. What they're doing in Australia and what they're doing in Africa and the different parts of the continent, what they're doing, like everybody's in, I think Canada and America run closer together for obvious reasons.
Just geographically.
Like, yeah, geographically, even like some people train out of America, like itself. Like I think it's easier to probably like talk to that crew and like get them on a page.
Yeah.
But like a movement has to, because like it's okay that the whole world doesn't look identical when we do pro track. That's okay. That's all right. Remember, the NBA is an American league. We have Chinese professional basketball. They got all these teams over in Europe. They got teams in all over the world. Teams in the Philippines. So it's not so much about like they're all doing, all these leagues have slightly different things about them. And the NBA is focused on their constituency, their market, and building a product that, and guess what? The thing about the NBA, and this is going to be the hardest thing for the track and field purists, but it won't matter if all the stars are all in one day, then it won't matter. Everybody will just go with that. Where the NBA leaned away from the integrity of pure basketball to make a more engaging product. And what it does is it actually complicates their players. Like it complicates their ability to play on the world stage.
Yeah.
Because their game doesn't match that game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think Brad Beal said it, like a bunch, like there are NBA guys who've spoken and been like, when I went to play FIBA, international basketball, I had no idea how different the way they play. And there are guys in the NBA, here's the next thing, who aren't standouts in the NBA, and we wonder why they're so good in international. It's like, this is a different game.
It is.
It's a different style of play. But if y'all come to this court with these rules, I'm about to give you this work. Right. And pro track would have to be able to move like that, where it's still track. We're still running races. It's just, it's not going to look like the Olympic product, but we're still all in.
Yeah.
So what does it look like for your think about the most elites? What does it look like for Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone to be all in a different model? Because we already know what this model is. It basically feels like, I mean, now that the 400 is over, because that was a big race, her 400, that with the 1, 2, 3. But now that it's over, we're basically going to be watching Sydney run time trials again.
Yeah, especially in 2026.
And then here's the worst part about it. With Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, she's so talented. Her light shines so brightly, it ends up dimming the light of everybody else. Good luck out there trying to sell a 400-meter dash race without her, Nasser, or Paulino. Good luck.
I mean, the entire 400-meter hurdles lost so much luster with her out of it. You know, it was just like, okay, Femke Bowl, who's going to get second or third? But like all the Diamond Leagues during the circuit, like Femke Bowl has been winning. She's on like a 30-meet streak or something like that in the 400 hurdles. So much so that even she's moving events now. Like she's going like, all right, I won enough. I'm going to the 8 now. This is, you know, it's tough.
Yeah. So those are I mean, again, like on the baselines, like, you know, but I feel like you had something you were headed to. So I don't want to stop the train.
Yeah. So hold on, let me pull my notes again. I was going to ask, so do you think we need every star in these meets for it to be successful? So we had Tara Davis Woodhull this year. Last year we had Gabby running. And I think if we talk about like the big 5 on the women's side in America, it would be now Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, Sha'Carri, Tara Davis Woodhull, Sydney, and who did I leave out? Did I say Gabby?
Oh, you did, yeah.
Okay. Gabby, Tara, Sydney, Sha'Carri, Melissa.
I mean, Julian
We had
most certainly on talent belonged up there.
who?
Julian Alfred on talent, of course, belonged up there.
Well, I was just going off Americans, but yeah,
okay, that's fair. She trained out of America, so
yeah. But I mean, you can include.
You're right. You're saying just the American athlete. That's fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really anybody. But I was just thinking, like, who would actually move the needle in America? And you can include international athletes, but I don't know. Would you include Julian in that? And if you're talking about like profile, like, I mean, yeah, she's the Olympic champion. But...
Okay, not in America, no. I mean, but again, they're the cap on this individualized model and how far it can go. So I mean, maybe maybe you see it similarly, but the Grand Slam track vision, because when they first explained it to me, I was like, that ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna cap. That's what I thought. And then I saw it, and I was like I saw the first meet, and I was like, I see what you're trying to accomplish. Because when they first broke it down, I was like, I just don't see this. Right. I don't see this being the next. And this is like first press conference. And then when I saw, again, forget about the fans and everything, like the Jamaica meet, when I saw it, I was like, I see where you're trying to accomplish. Grand Slam could have worked, but and it might still, but I'm gonna tell you the only way I think it does work. And I think, okay, let me choose my words carefully. I have on good authority, that's the best way I can put it. I have on good authority that the long-term vision was to get to a specific point. And that point was, you remember, that's in the title, Grand Slam track. Right. Those meets were supposed to become the Grand Slams of professional track. The moment where all the pros want to be on the track, meaning forget about every other race that happened in the world this year that ain't these. If I am a pro, the only meets I got to run are the Grand Slams. I just want to get a lane. Just do whatever you got to do to make sure that when the Grand Slams go, you're in those lanes. And then you go run for the big money and you do it on the big stage. The world's going to see it. It's going to be a big track product. Yeah, the World Championships is a separate thing. But as far as, to step in the ring and throw hands or the pro, that was the vision. And that vision holds up if everybody's in agreement that these lanes mattered. What happened from the start of Grand Slam track on down was that there were always athletes who didn't agree. They called people, and some of the people said no. Some hung up the phone. Some said, I'm gonna go run over here or over there and the same weekend in a meet that basically won't pay me anything because I'm preparing for Worlds. Now, I'm not saying names, but you can assume some of the names I'm talking about, and I get why they did what they did. But that wasn't the vision. So the moment that started happening, before the meets even went, I still caught a glimpse of where they were going, but I knew you couldn't get there without the stars. So that's that was that model. It could have worked, and it still could work, but it's only going to work if, like, okay, let's take the long hurdles for the men, for example. Y'all really gave me Allison Dos Santos and fill in the blank. Yeah. Because we all know there's 3 men in the world who all are competing with each other. Now, if the Grand Slams gave me those same 3 men. Yeah. And even if they just kept running 4 times, because everybody else is like, well, I got to get a lane to run with them. And they went in there and was, throwing hands, for lack of a better term, between the 2 events. You see how, like, that can draw people. Yeah. But when Allison comes by himself, and, like, at that point, and he lost one at the end in Philly. But at the end of the day, no one really cared because it wasn't a Grand Slam anymore. Yeah. It was just 2 races with some points that we were doing. Like, we were doing it, but it wasn't. So, I mean, I don't know if that kind of like just for what they were doing, like, I saw how their vision could have achieved if everybody was. The thing is, all the athletes would have had, because if you're missing a Grand Slam, you're missing it for one of 2 reasons. They didn't invite you or you're hurt.
So it kind of sounds like you're saying that it sounds like we do need everybody, all hands on deck, for it to matter.
That's for that model. I think with unique changes to Grand Slam, we could have solved that problem without the athletes changing what they do.
What would be the model in which you don't rely on everybody pulling up? Because I don't think we're ever going to get consensus like we do at the World Championships or Olympics, where everybody's like, I have to be there. There's always going to be someone who thinks they should be getting more money, or they don't want to go and face them. If they don't have to, they're going to save face. Like, nah, I'm going to wait for the medals. I'm going to peak there. Like, what would it take for everybody to want to peak and just like take it seriously on their calendar. Like, I have to win those meets and be there.
Yeah, well, their model was the 4 slam model, which they did 3 of them,
Yeah.
and the slams were redundant in a sense. Like,
Okay.
they were the same thing over and over again. And I'm not talking about switching up the events, and that's not what I mean. It was a redundant product in the grand scheme, but it would have worked if the stars wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Given what you just said, the model that I proposed, and I explained some of this on my channel, like in a more recent video when I was like, okay, if I was going to fix Grand Slam, this is how I would have fixed it. Because I had a very well detailed thought process on what, like, I'm not just throwing crap at the wall.
Right.
So the cliff notes of it is this whole 4 slams model in the 4 cities. We're going to have to rework this.
Okay.
You need to now put it where Grand Slam, if it's going to be a league. Okay, how do I make this as simple as possible? If a leagues have something in common. They have champions. So
Mm-hmm.
think like the UFC. UFC has weight classes. They just gave you the weight classes of track and field for the purposes, or track for the purposes of their league. The short sprints, the long sprints. I'm fine with that. I ain't tripping. I'm just take what they're using, but I'm gonna build it out and extend it. So granted, they would have ran out of cash perhaps because they already did. But if this is how I would have engineered it, where you needed to have a final slam. That's the championship. That's the moment you want to be in. Whatever you got to do, you got to get in that one.
Mm.
And then the rest of the season is an onboarding ramp to get in there. See, we might be able to get everybody to agree that one matters. When I say everyone, here's the catch. You need to create a system where when an athlete self-selects out, that's a reflection on them, not your product.
Okay.
Right now, it was a reflection on the product, not the athlete. So that's why if you say the Grand Slam champion in the short sprints, he's the best pro sprinter in the world. What are you talking about? He didn't win the world championship. That's fine. We support everybody who goes to worlds. Some of our athletes run in worlds. The world championships, it's an amazing product. It's an international product. For that
Mm-hmm.
matter, they have amateurs who they let in. We don't let amateurs run here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't let high school and college kids run here. This is a pro league. And in this league, Kenny Bednarik is the baddest sprinter in the world. And if you think that you're the best pro, step in the ring and throw hands. And if you don't, that's a reflection on you. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you don't think you can beat him across 2 events in a weekend. I don't know what's holding you back. You can go run worlds and run your round and do all of that over there. This is something different because you can win an NBA championship and you can win a world championship. You can win an NBA title. You can win an Olympic gold medal, like in basketball or in these other sports. Like that's how it works. You can do both. Like it's not the same thing. So you see how like you have to like the structure of it. It would like the other slams would be qualifying you into that final.
Mm.
So if you win one, you're in. So you may not have to keep running.
Yeah.
If you want to do the whole racer model, like I had a whole bunch of provisions on how you kind of make it work, but you have to set up the system in a way where we know that there's going to be pullouts, we know there's going to be injuries, and at the end of the day, the same way the UFC is going to have a heavyweight title, regardless of, like if you get hurt, we still about to crown the champion.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like this is going to happen with or without you. The train is leaving the station. So you just needed to set it up where when somebody pulls out, it's almost like it's a new opportunity for somebody else to get into the ring and now have a chance to go for the crown. But we've all agreed we're climbing the mountain to get to this one spot. And then from there, you just keep like I have a bunch of details on what it looks like. I mean, you could have done a slam leaderboard where, you get wild cards for the top scorers. So as a result, like when you came into the challenger, so your score would have been on a board where you would have known all the other scores from the other slams, and you would know what the cutoff is to be the last wild card into that final before you run.
Mm.
So now when you come in, it's like, I need to leave here with 12 points.
Okay. So how does this differ from the Diamond League setup?
The reason why it differs from the Diamond League is because no one cares. The Diamond League, the Diamond League is way too many meets with way too many random fields. You need to lock it down where it's a privilege to get in these lanes.
Okay.
You need to create an incentive structure for everybody to want to get in that final. The only way I think you could actually incentivize them, again, I came up with a lot of provisions. I would have ran the Grand Slam season like this. You would have had 3 slams that looked like what you competed in. The LA Slam perhaps would have been the final. In between the Philly and LA, you would have had to do what I call a qualifier meet. And the final would not have been a 2-event slam. It would have been one-off events in the 100, the 200, the 400, etc. So we're not going to run like the short sprints, long sprints. Like there's going to be a 200-meter champion. The reason why is because I think I can get buy-in where I get it. Athletes like Kashane don't want to double, or at least he wasn't going to do that this year. But this is my thought. If I called Kashane, this is my thought. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. If I call him up and I say, all right, we're going to have our qualifier weekend. The qualifier is for all the athletes who didn't run in a regular slam. If you run in a regular slam, you are now eligible for a wild card for the final. So you already earned you either got in or didn't. All the athletes who didn't come, they are now invited, the best ones in the world. You call them and fill out the lanes for the qualifier in the 100, a qualifier in the 200. It's a one-off race, a one-off 100. Think of it like a podium finish. Top 3, y'all get to the final in the 100. Top 3, y'all get to the final in the 200. When you came to your slam, the reason why I'm separating out the events is, I'll ask you, which do you consider your best event, the 1 or the 2?
The 2.
So you would have been listed as a 200-meter runner when you came to your slam. Okay. So you're now competing for a 200-meter final spot. The only way you can get into 2 finals is you would have had to win multiple slams, like Kenny. Like you have to claim a final spot.
Yeah.
Like think of like a Noah Lyles, where if he doesn't come as a challenger, he's now running the risk that, bro, I got to show up to that qualifier weekend and handle business.
Yeah.
I can't slip now. Whereas if I come as a challenger, I might get a chance. Well, one, I can see who's going to be on the list for that weekend and be like, oh, I can beat these guys. And I can book my finals ticket right now, because now it adds this gamesmanship element of, getting that spot. So like when we come to the second slam, the narrative is going to be Kenny Bednarik has already booked his tickets for the final.
Yeah.
Who's going to be joining him?
Right.
That's the story we're telling. Now, if Kenny's going to run again, if y'all let him win again, he's now taking away an automatic bid from somebody, and we're going to have to go to the wild cards.
I've actually had something similar before the Grand Slam existed and Athlos existed. I thought, how could we revolutionize the Diamond League? And that was one of my ideas, is if you win a Diamond League, you get an automatic bid to the final. And that might make people care more. But again, I think like you said, there's too many Diamond League meets for that to matter. And that, like, I just think it's too long to get everybody's interest carrying along for the entire season. So that's interesting, though. I think something that the Diamond League has that the Grand Slam track and Athlos don't, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, is connection to the World Championships. So, for example, like you get the wild card if you're a Diamond League champion, and that gives more people a reason to care, even though it doesn't really matter much. It still gives a small reason for fans to care about the Diamond League. So, like, if someone like Brittany Brown, who didn't make it out of their trials, goes to the Grand Slam and wins like she did, she gets a ticket now to the World Champs, which is what we saw. Do you think we should keep that model where, like, maybe if you win a Grand Slam and you're a Grand Slam champion, you get a buy into Worlds and have that connection there, or Athlos champion, you get a connection into a buy into Worlds? Or should we get completely away from making Worlds this pinnacle where everyone cares about it, and then just make this its own entity and build that up to supersede the World Championships?
I don't even think it's about. Well, I hear what you're saying. Like, the simple answer would be it should be separate. I don't even think it's about superseding. It's just different. It's two separate things.
Okay.
That's the best way to put it. Worlds is over here. The pro stuff is over there. What I will say is the biggest shift is that the pros who take themselves seriously should not be concerned about Worlds anymore. If you want, because see, okay, if I'm World Athletics, if the top athletes have concluded they're going to run on a professional circuit and that they don't need me anymore, and that professional circuit has, for lack of a better term, a players union, because now there's an actual league, like for Grand Slam, like for my model, all the athletes who would be a part of Grand Slam would have to declare, like, to get, like, to be registered as having an option to be in there. Like, like paperwork you'd have to file to be eligible to run. So now when we have, an association meeting for all the athletes, we now know who's in it. So now when World Athletics is negotiating, they don't have to talk to every individual athlete or every international federation. We now know all the athletes who are part of this designation. y'all can vote on who your president is, just like they have a players president for all these other leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can, you see, I'm like, you see how you now have power because you're together, but you have to come together under a heading that makes sense. So this, because World Athletics would, if they had no choice, if they really were looking at the prospect of losing all these top athletes, because they're like, look, we're going to get paid all this money. We're going to be on national TV. Think from an American context. Like we're going to now have a launching pad to like show ourselves to the world. Our sponsors will be able to know that our athletes are going to be seen. That's because that's where the contracts and things can start shifting their structure. Because it's like, well, you're on TV now. They see you go out there and do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that would be like what makes it separate. As in, like, this is over here, World is over there. I'm not against World. I think it's a great product. I honestly don't even know why the USA's, for example, like, yes, I get why we do a trials, but some of these spots we don't need to do a trials for.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, some of these athletes don't need to go to trials.
Yeah.
Like, why is Sydney doing a time trial at the USA's? She was already near near the American record holder. She was already undefeated in the Open 4. She'd already beaten the fastest American women when she faced off with them at Prefontaine, and y'all still had her go out there and run a whole bunch of rounds. Why?
Yeah.
We know that if we want our best team, we should be sending her. So, like, you could have just asked her to just go.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's a different model. It's just that that's how it works in all the other pro sports. If you don't want to do this, you're not going to be a pro sport. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. You will always be an amateur sport with people who get paid.
So that's where I was going to go. Because I remember when we had that conversation on the phone, you were saying that we don't need a trials. And at first I was like, of course we need a trials. Like, what do you mean? Like, but I think we're just so entrenched with that mindset that, like, you go to trials, you qualify for the team. That's just the only way we can do it. Even when you said, why do we have 3 medals? You know, like other sports just have a winner and a loser, but we're on that medal model. We're like, if you get top 3, you get a medal, and that means you did good. So I don't know. I just thought that was a great point that I never really considered. It kind of like changed my mindset of like what a pro track league could look like versus, because I feel like everything right now is like a mini version of the Olympics. Like they're trying to recreate that same thing where we're all representing our country, following that same model. Because it's like the Olympics is so successful, let's just apply that in mini versions, and they'll love that over and over and over. And it's like, no, it works because it is the Olympics. It's every 4 years. That's what makes it work.
That's what makes it
having mini Olympics doesn't work.
People love the Olympics. They do.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to stop you. It's just the Olympics works for this simple fact.
Mm-hmm.
And the comment section can let me know. People like to watch track and field when they feel like they understand it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they understand the Olympics. Because I'm looking at the comments. Somebody was talking about, like, even when we were talking about the pro model, like, are some of that might be too confusing. Here's the catch. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of rules in the NBA, the NFL, and so on people don't understand. That's not important. What matters is the product that got delivered to you. You don't care about how we do it. So with the Olympics, people don't know how these kids or these athletes or whoever got to represent their nations. Yeah. They just look out there and see the national colors and say, all right, Jamaica's here. I know Sharika Jackson's not running the 200 at the Olympics. Like, I know the implications, but y'all really think that we watching the best women in the 200. I know that if she ain't here running like herself, we're missing something. And unfortunately, for the way the sport is set up, her not being present on that stage means she was essentially absent to so many people who would have had the chance to appreciate what she was capable of. But I think the Olympic product works well because of what it is. But I don't think that's a track-specific problem or a situation. It's just that track is the only sport that is really, well, the Olympic sports are the ones that have been successful in that model that never innovated much beyond. That's what I would say. Yeah. It's not that because they're Olympic sports, it's almost like we never realized we could be more. And everybody else in the sport realized. Even
from what you said from the beginning, where you're trying to find it under ESPN and we're under Olympic sports. Being under that umbrella, considering us that is so limiting because we never get outside of that being the aura of track and field. Like we're not athletics or track and field, our own entity. Like we don't own the Olympics, so we have no say over like what happens. Like the World Athletics can make suggestions and be like, hey, we want to do this, whatever, but they got to negotiate with the Olympics. And the Olympics has power because they're the ones with the major sponsors and they're entrenched. We all know that like track and field is in prime time under the bright lights when it's under the Olympic umbrella. And that's because we're under their marketing. We get to use the rings and cross promote and stuff like that. And if you ever notice, like when the Olympics happen, World Athletics on their page, they can't really post the races. They post races from athletes at like their Diamond League meets or at World Championships because they own those rights. They don't own the Olympic footage rights. So even they can't post their own athletes that are under the World Athletics umbrella. And that's a huge problem because the biggest moments that happen are happening under the marketing that we don't even own. The product is not ours to use, you know? So it'd be like if the NBA championships happened, but the NBA Instagram can't even post it because they don't own the rights to it. It's crazy. Like our pinnacle of our sport, we don't own that. We got to change that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just it's our fault, and I say our. I mean, I didn't do it, but I think it's us as a community. I speak from a sense of ownership that if we want it to change, we have to change it. The thing that I'll say, again, this is the quiet part out loud. The reason Pro Track has not innovated successfully is above all else because the current model, again, hey, these people don't pay me, so I can say what I want to say, is they pay the athletes at the top to make them happy enough to not want to shake up the system. 90 to 95% of the athletes that we see that we take seriously are ready to make a change. But the biggest names would have to essentially bite the hand that's feeding them in order to be a part of the insurrection.
Yeah.
And that's why like the insurrection might have to get led from the bottom up, not from the top down.
Yeah.
The GST model, the individualized model, that anything that's individualized will only work if the top athletes opt in. A league model, you can do it from the bottom down, like a team model. You just kind of have to show the product, make it, these athletes are running like it matters. And then, slowly but surely you get bigger names involved. You build it out as you go. I think like the problem is, again, people haven't seen it. So as a result, because they haven't seen it, it's hard for them to get on board with something that feels like a dream.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, the only way I could try to explain to them what they have seen is like, if you've ever watched the Big Ten or the SEC Conference Championship meet, okay, you got to see some version of team competition there. Then if you've ever watched Penn Relays, USA versus the world, that was another chance where you could kind of see it. And then, yes, the Olympics did give us a taste of it where it's like this sense of they're running for something that's bigger than themselves because everybody's wearing a country. So you kind of have to see what worked in all three of those and figure out how do I make this a television ready product that fits within 3 hours where I could pay money, go watch this meeting, then go home and eat a meal. Like it's not like this marathon of a day. They be doing morning sessions, evening sessions. I'm like, nobody in track wants to be here this long. Everybody, the coaches, the athletes, the fans, the parents, nobody likes this. We all wish that we could like see an event that would like an actual sporting event. So enjoy it like a basketball game or a soccer game and then go about our lives.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get through some comments, and if you want to address any, you just jump in, and then we'll switch gears here. But Melanie the Broker, hey Saints, what's up? I didn't watch any of Athlos. October is a difficult time of month after being Worlds. So many events happening. That's another thing too, is competition. It being in October, like people are over track and field if they even know that it's happening. And there's so many other sports that are back in season now. So that's another drawback of it being in October. How can I actually win the Olympics? I have all the time in the world. I live with the actual Olympic gold medal in my house. I don't want to be fit. I'm not even sure how to answer that. Does embracing the pro identity mean athletes need to stop entertaining races with streams?
That's a good one.
I got that coming up. Just stay tuned. Athlos happening postseason is whack. O'Haney got rolled by Sepco. And they were getting viewed on NBC2. I was like, wow, Sha'Carri had headlines and interviews and she wasn't top 3, but every video she has so many views.
Yeah. I mean, I'll comment on that because I'm on YouTube so much.
Yeah.
The algorithm is exposing what people react to. So as a result, track and field, unfortunately, had actually, we pillaged ourselves by falling into the trap of trying to fracture our sport up into these individualized moments, because I get it. It was easier and it was shareable. It just wasn't marketable. So the algorithm, what it does is, instead, think of it like a buffet versus a meal.
Yeah.
When you try to sell track of the buffet, people just take what they want and they leave.
Yeah.
If you actually cook a good meal, I might actually eat everything on the plate. So, like, I think that's kind of what's been happening with, even when races get out, like even the videos that I make, I have to, sometimes there's a conversation I want to have, but I know I can't just have that conversation and anybody click on it. So I now have to figure out, how can I put a face that's relevant and then move to the conversation I want to have, because otherwise that video is going to see 500 views.
And that same model, that same concept applies from YouTube to TV. And so they're thinking, how can we put this product on TV? Like, how can we promote this thing, market it, have the commercials, have the billboards, whatever, if we don't have a face to it? And that's why they gravitate to a Noah Lyles, to a Sha'Carri, to a Tara Davis Woodall, people who have eccentric personalities, people who make people care about it, whether you love them or hate them, you want to watch.
And they have gold medals.
They have gold medals. They have gold medals. Yeah, of course. You can't leave that out.
If you can have good personality.
Even before Sha'Carri won the Olympics, before she won Worlds, she was still that, because her story was so compelling. What happened at the trials and her not being able to go to the Olympics, like, she blew up after that. But that's a rare case. You don't really get that a lot.
I mean, she was unique. And because see, what happened is Sha'Carri broke through, like, as they say, like, she broke through, or she transcended track with everything that happened around her first Olympic trials. So as a result, she had this reputation in the American media as being an entity, and that reputation was tied to what she had done at the Olympic trials, and that has now persisted. I mean, she's added to it per se, but it's almost like she earned a rep and then had to go validate the rep. More than like winning first.
I want to know those numbers of the Prefontaine that year in 2021 when she came back, because that was the most marketed Diamond League I've ever seen. Like, Nike had the commercial with her with the fingernails and like, I've been waiting and stuff like that. Like, everybody was anticipating. We had the Olympic champion in the race. Shelly was there. It was like, that was almost bigger than Tokyo.
I mean, I remember watching her. Even after Elaine Thompson, that was actually, it was a movie, to be quite frank. Think about it. Elaine Thompson, hurrah, her performance.
1054.
And Sha'Carri's interview.
Oh my God.
It was box office. That whole thing. That was too bad they weren't doing sprint then.
Oh my God. Athlos can dress everything up all they want. If it's not during the season, it's meaningless. They may pay late, but they don't all make a big deal about giving out golden envelopes. I mean, how can you make a big deal when you're paying 10 grand? What's the big deal of like, how are you going to hand out an envelope saying that? All right, let's move down a little bit. All-Star games being kind, only a few stars were there. If the NBA All-Star game had the same relative athlete appearances, it would be a dud. It's fair. All right. There's a lot of comments, but I wanna get to the next thing. So, where was it? So, track and field in the mainstream. So I gotta change the banner. How do I take this comment off? There we go. Take this down. All right. So, one thing that we've kind of been touching on is like, the models work for pro track and field meets like Athlos or Grand Slam track in their current iteration if we have buy-in from the stars at the top. My thing is, how do we create more stars at the top? You know, obviously winning a gold medal helps, but as we know, that doesn't penetrate into mainstream media the same way that it does with like a magnetic personality or winning the Olympics, and like you capture the moment. So what can we do to create more stars? And is the answer doing things like what Noah's been doing, what Melissa just did, where you're collaborating with other people that already have a presence? So we saw Noah race I Show Speed.
Yeah.
We saw the thing with Noah and Tyreek Hill. You know, hold on,
which never actually happened, but
which never happened. But at least there was some like build up to it where people, hold on, my fault. People actually knew, okay, Noah Lyles is about to do this. Then he had his world championship of what thing? So NBA Twitter knows him. They might hate him, but at least they know him. So like he's in the minds of mainstream media. They know him. Then we got, you know, someone who just had a historic season, and you know, by all metrics, probably a top 500-meter season ever from Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. And I think this thing with Mr. Beast will have her more known than any of those medals at World Championships that she did.
You believe
what,
that?
What do you think about that?
I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
See, okay. Like, I think it's more of like, it's a 15 minutes of fame thing. Think of it like reality TV stars.
Mm-hmm.
They fade to the background really fast.
Right.
Because here's the problem. Like, let me make sure I'm saying this appropriately. So let me back up.
Okay.
Amazing shout out to all these athletes. They are amazing in their own right. They have accomplished at the highest levels of our sport. I remember I've been on the Melissa Jefferson-Wooden bandwagon before it even had seats.
Right.
And I have the receipts to prove it. We're talking Coastal Carolina, indoors.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the bandwagon. So like before her first USAs, all of it. So with that in mind, I'm not discrediting the athletes, and I'm also not saying that, like, I understand there might have been money on the table, like, you know, like all of that's fair. But
yeah.
Okay. Okay, here's the most generous way I can say it. I'm not going to say names, but you can let your mind run. When a pro track athlete, insert name here, goes on a platform, and I'm going to name platforms, but I'm not trying to throw shade at any individuals. I'm just naming platforms. Whether it's the Nightcap podcast with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson, whether you're going on, you know, Cam Newton's podcast, you could be going on A Good Morning Today or any of these shows. Jennifer Hudson. It could be. It doesn't matter. Any of these platforms where to translate it into YouTube language, because the algorithm will expose.
Right.
So yeah, if you go on these platforms, and you know how the algorithm will show us the view counts on your segment, and we can see a channel that has 4 million subscribers.
Yep.
3 million, 8 million, however many, and your video struggles to get to 50,000 views. Again, the one that's specifically about you. Now, granted, you might be a part of an episode, and maybe the whole episode got 4 million.
Right.
Or if we're talking about YouTube, and then cable is cable. We all know cable viewership is down in the States. And for that matter, I believe to some degree in other parts of the world as well. So what I'm saying is simply showing up on a platform doesn't make people care about you.
Right.
Because if I'm Cam Newton or I'm Shannon Sharp or whoever else, I have people who follow me and they associate me with something specific. I could bring whoever I want on my show. Don't get me wrong. But that doesn't mean that I can force people to care about something they don't care about.
Okay.
So I think that's the glitch where we think that just getting eyes works, because what the algorithm does, like, it's like, I'll give a simple example. The reason why FlowTrack sometimes has inconsistent views on their race videos is simple. They don't have a FlowTrack sprinting and a FlowTrack distance channel. So the algorithm sometimes sends a video to someone who doesn't care about that thing.
Right.
And they don't watch it, and it drives the click-through down, so the video doesn't go to as many people.
So then how do you penetrate into the mainstream media where you're getting in front of more people who don't even know that these events are happening? So they don't even know that the World Championships happen this year, or that the Diamond League happened, or Grand Slam. How do you get in front of that audience and find the ones that will care about it and want to watch? They just don't know it exists.
I think, well, let me try to, you know, be as generous as I can. There might be a place for these gimmicks. I just think that people are misguided, and by that I mean people, not all, but some of the comments I see, some of the discussions I have, even with people who are serious in the track community, I think there's a misunderstanding of how these types of appearances translate into long-term success.
Mhm.
For example, people say I Show Speed is drawing attention to track and field. This man had never run on a track, an actual track and field distance, as far as I know. He could have pulled up to Athlos. He didn't. He could have pulled up to Worlds. He got the money and fly out there. He could have went to USA's. He didn't even make appearances at track and field events where he didn't even have to run. He just did a Speed Goes Pro thing with Thuni Lee. Guess who was at Athlos? Thuni Lee. Guess who, as far as I know, wasn't? I Show Speed. That tells you what he thinks about track and field.
Yeah.
He will run in a parking lot and say, I'll race you to that tree over there. Like, it's the same. Like, I ran in college. Like, I could go down to where you at in Florida and pull up and be like, yo, let's go race to that tree. And I could probably make it look interesting. But that would be delusional for me to think that my average D1 self in the past, and I've been very retired for a while, should be running anywhere with you in the context of track and field. Like, I'm not that delusional. I know that. But that's not the same thing as what he's doing. So, like, I think when people say that it's bringing attention to track and field, that would imply that, okay, if Speed were running at, let's say, the you know how DK Metcalf ran at that Los Angeles event?
Yeah.
The LA Grand Prix?
Yeah.
That was bringing attention to track and field. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Because now he actually came to our space. It's hard for us to go into their space and then bring them back. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The data does not suggest that we can go into someone else's space where they're not looking for you or interested or paying attention. Track's biggest issue is that we have fans, people who, just think about all the people who ran in the American college system, who work full-time day jobs today, who didn't watch the Worlds.
Yeah.
Or most certainly did not watch the Prefontaine, or definitely weren't watching the Diamond or anything like that. I think those are the people who were like, we need to start with getting people who actually like track to have something to watch. If our goal is to shift things.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do that, all these gimmicks are going to be a drop in the bucket. It's just maybe why some people see it. And again, you tell me if there's a different side to it that I'm missing. It just feels like if you're content with the status quo, then fine. Sprinkle a little sauce on it, try to put some icing on the cake, like do gimmicky stuff. But I just don't see, as Noah said, and I will close on this, Noah said it about the sport where he was like, after all the momentum that Sprint he felt developed for himself, he's like, we don't even have a place to send people to go. How can I go watch you? And there's no clear go here. Again, it's an infrastructure problem. I'm not saying exposure isn't an issue. I'm saying in the business world, I had to learn very quickly that you can only advertise when you know what product will sell.
Yeah.
You cannot spend a large advertising budget to see if your product is going to be successful. You only spend to advertise when you know what's working. So now you're selling to the exact type of person who has already been buying.
Right.
You pour gasoline on the fire.
I think the problem is we're trying to find the people who want to watch our product without even defining what our product is. So like what we were talking about earlier, having the mini Olympic model isn't working because it's not the same as the Olympics. A, it's not every 4 years. B, it doesn't have the same marketing arm behind it. And C, not everybody that will be at the Olympics is at these meets. So we can't call it the mini Olympics when not everybody is there. Like if you look at the mission statement of the Diamond League when it first came out, it was like, yeah, we're going to create head-to-head matchups, like the ones that you dream about and that you want to see and stuff. How many times do we actually have people going at it? Like, yeah, we have certain events like the women's 100-meter hurdles where it's always smoke in that event. But the events that are really box office, that like, not saying that the women's 100 hurdles isn't box office, but like the ones, the heavy hitters, where they're saying like,
easier to the casual fan.
There you go.
That's the language.
Those ones don't have those filled out the same way, where you got, even if it's not 1 verse 2, it's 1 verse 3 or 2 verse 4, you know, like you might get like 1 versus 7 versus 11, and then a random from the country that you're in, just fill in the lane, and you know what I mean? Like the stakes just aren't the same. So it's not that same product. So I think, like you're saying, we have to build the infrastructure, make sure that we lock down having that certain amount of the athletes that we need to sell this thing before we can actually start marketing and saying like, hey, come and watch this. But I don't know how we get there, because it seems like an athlete of, like, let's just use Noah since he talked about it. And he, like, when he was on Cam Newton's podcast, he was saying like, what can the Grand Slam track offer me? But like, if he's not there, like, it's like chicken or the egg. Like how do you create a space where it's worthy of the Olympic champion in the 100 to pull up to, without having the Olympic champion of the 100 their buy-in? You know what I mean? Like how do, the reason why it's not worthy of you is because you said no to it.
Yeah, well, actually,
like how do they ever build it up?
Track. Okay, so because once we last spoke, like off camera, I mean, my mind really thought more deeply about, when you asked the question, how do we get there?
Yeah.
And I revised my answer. And my new thought is, you could get there, but you'd have to start from the bottom if you're going in a team direction.
Yeah.
I would not start from the top. In other words, you start with something that doesn't take millions upon millions of dollars to fund. Something that you could probably run properly and develop infrastructure for $500,000. And then as you keep hitting certain checkpoints, you keep extending and building out and, like moving forward. Like, I think that's how you get to this point of the infrastructure. But again, you have to know where your end goal is. So now, okay, maybe the comment section can help us out. And maybe so I'll ask, like, can you think of an individual sport that thrives where, for the most part, all the athletes haven't agreed in some professionalized setting what matters, and came to an answer that doesn't sound like world championships and Olympics? Because tennis did it. They agreed the majors matter.
Yeah.
UFC did it. You want to be the champion of your weight class.
Yep.
Right? Because MMA, there's other MMA leagues, but they're that. What were we saying? Yeah. Golf with PGA.
Yep. Masters.
Like, what other individual? Okay, X Games for extreme sports, even, which is kind of taking a step back, but like, even they figured out how to get everybody going in the same direction, where all the other competitions were just qualifiers to get there. And everybody knew, tune in. See, the way you sell a pro product, as I understand it, is you need a Super Bowl moment. The moment where you tell your grandma, watch that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, Grand Slam track would have needed, Athlos, whatever, needs to have a Super Bowl moment where they say, watch that. Yeah. That's the one we tell the casuals. The fans, you need something for them to follow along the way there. Because how many people watch the Super Bowl versus how many people are watching the regular season is night and day. And they still have a lot of fans in the regular season. But then you have the day. Leagues are supported almost exclusively by the super fan.
Yeah.
The NBA started redoing their arenas and focusing on more luxury suites and downsizing and sometimes making the arena smaller and getting rid of some of the cheap seats. They realized we need more big ticket people. That's what we need. Like, we did this whole, we need all these people. We don't need all these people. We just need people who are passionate. If I could give you a track stadium with 7,000 people who were into it, packed out, 7,000 there, and then you go to another city and it's 5,000, but they're going hard and they pay good money to watch y'all run, which means you can get paid good money, because now we can put a 5,000 seat stadium on TV and it look interesting because they're into it. If they care, then I care. I remember turning on UFL and I looked at it and I seen the first few rows was real empty. Turn that thing off within another minute. I'm like, if they don't care, then why should I care for them? I was like, the people who was football fans didn't care, and I'm the casual. So the casual, I just averted my eyes. That's why packing out the stadium does matter, and you don't need 20, 30,000 fans to make a TV product. Yeah. That's where I would start, focusing on TV product, and you slowly build out.
Okay.
So, like, from the bottom up, I'd say. So maybe the top athletes aren't a part of, like, when I say the top, I'd say all these tracksmith level unattached athletes in America, for example, those are the people I would start with in my league.
Okay. But then don't you run into the same problem of the same thing we're talking about with the algorithm? Like if you're talking about certain topics that don't include the certain big names, it doesn't get the same traction and the same views.
Well, now we're getting into business modeling, but there's different stages.
Okay. So you're just saying build the foundation and then worry about that later?
So stage one, I mean, I'm gonna give you like stage one is you first have to show the product. The Grand Slam track tried to do that, but they also tried to market an unproven product while trying to prove the product.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like it needs to be seen. If I say team track and field, I need to be able to show you a team. Like no one needs to go look at an actual thing and see a team that pre-existing with a general manager and president and see meets and like how do they function and so on. He needs to see it before he could ever want to join it. You see what I'm saying? Like I can't like sell him on we gonna make it. And he's like, but I ain't never like, and you want to make it with me?
Yeah.
Like you want to experiment with me? Like in my time? I can understand why he's opting out. And this is me evolving my thought process. Definitely all those unattached track and level athletes, the ones who are the people we're sending the world relays in America. If I told them I was going to pay them even $5,000 to run in a track the entire season, they do it.
Yeah.
Because they're making nothing right now.
Yeah.
They're running at college meets, paying their own entry fees, and so on and so forth, chasing the dream. Some of them might have a track club that pays to like do some stuff for them, but it's not like they're making any money. They're literally not making anything. And these are athletes who show up to USAs right now. And some of them even make the world's team specifically on relays and so on. Some people had contracts, get dropped, all of that. So like, I think that's where, cause like, okay, have you seen CrossFit? I don't know how much you follow how their stuff looks.
Nah. I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, so the CrossFit Games, they have the individual championship and they have a team championship. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have an individual championship and they have a team championship. And this is how big they are. They live streamed their multi-day championship event, and they were able to get millions of views on a 9-hour live stream for multiple days in a row.
Wow.
Like that's where now you've got sponsors like Zenny and so on. Now, they were the portion of the time where they were on ESPN. I'm sure they may have other distribution partners, but in general, somebody launched something called the Grid League. I didn't know what it was until it popped up on my feed. The Grid League is like CrossFit team competition, but it's like a season with a record and a championship. So for people who are into that, the Grid League was created. Now the Grid League started with the no names. The people who are not the biggest people at all in CrossFit, a bunch of randoms, for lack of a better term, who are like, they're serious about this, but they're not at the CrossFit Games. But then what happened is they got to a point where I saw that they had athletes who were like in the game, like the top 40 or whatever in the world, who started joining some of those teams, maybe in like a one-off.
Okay.
Where like, I'll compete for this weekend with this Grid League team. And they're like, oh, we got, Danielle Brandon or whatever the names are competing this weekend and she's competing for this team. See, that might be like phase 2 and 3. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like where maybe an athlete is just hopping in, like the bigger names. And by I say bigger, I don't even mean Noah Lyles level or world gold level yet. Maybe the people who are like trying to make a final. Like maybe that group is like, all right, I'll take this check to come run for $2,000 for this weekend. I could go to a college meet and run where they don't pay me anything.
Yeah.
Or I could go here and put this uniform on and run for y'all.
Yeah. I think that's the good thing about track being so poverty right now is the fact that there's a lot of people. I think the majority of people fall within that range where they would give it a shot because it's like, what's the alternative? I'm not making much money anyways. So I don't know what the number is, maybe 80% of the league or not. I can't even call it a league of track and field that like considers themselves professional and runs post-college falls within that category where they're like, hell, I'll give it a shot. You're paying me $5,000, you're paying my ticket. Let me pull up. Otherwise I'd be at the Paramount invitation.
Like, I'm just saying, like, not $5,000 for every meet.
Okay.
But, no, see, because like, I'm thinking, Like for those people, like, okay, I'm borrowing from other sports. USL soccer is like below MLS in America. Their league minimum is $22.50, like $2,250 for a month. That's their league minimum. So guess what? Whenever I think about a pro track league, I always say that's the minimum contract. I just copied from somebody else. Minimum contract is $2,200 for the whole month. But guess what? If you're an unattached athlete, that's an upgrade. If you're running for Tracksmith, that's an upgrade. So all those people is not going to say no, because they went from running at college meets for free to now having something to run in. It's then you would pay the people who need to be paid. Like if Noah calls and says, I want to run, then fine, we'll negotiate with him.
Yeah.
But we're not negotiating with the minimum contract people. But the thing is, the stage is set because exposure matters. Like, you know how like you have minimum contracts in other sports as well, where you got to first get your shot. Before it's just like we have athletes who, again, like the fact that the USA finals in the 100 has unattached, totally unsponsored athletes, where if you look at them, they've never run at a meet that was even a Millrose, some of them, or a New Balance indoor, or like nothing that ever was like even Continental Tour. Some of them are just running at college meets the whole time. It's like, wow, like this is where we're starting for some people.
A couple of these comments I thought were pretty compelling. So September said, comparing track and field to other sports is kind of crazy because they're all doing one thing versus track and field doing 100 events. So what do you think about having to make it a more clean product to market to an audience? Like people who want to show up to watch the sprints might not necessarily care about the pole vault. And it's a completely different thing. Like they may not even understand how the pole vault in general. So like they might click off when they see the pole vault on TV. Like, hold on, I turned on expecting to see a 100-meter dash or a 200 or a 400, but now I'm seeing guys jump over with a pole. Like, what is this? Or like a high jump, or whatever. So was it like just making it more separated? Like even distance events, like watching the steeplechase or the 10K, they might not be interested in that. Might want to click off when they see that. So is it just making it more of a clean sell to the audience? Like, yeah, you're going to get sprints. This is what you wanted to watch. You're going to get that. You wanted to see jumps. You're going to get that. You're going to get distance running. You're exactly in the right place.
Track and field. Remember, the reason why I say this, I know it sounds crazy if you're thinking about the pro world, because we sell everything like that. But remember, think back to what I said about college conference championship meets. Everything is, all these events, we're scoring points. It's going into a bucket. It's going to be a team title. The thing is, NCAA severely mismanaged by trying to copy the Olympic model. That's how they kind of ruined their ability to have a marketable product. The way you make people care is, if I'm a Noah Lyles fan, the same way you can be a, Aaron Rodgers fan. If you're an Aaron Rodgers fan in football, then you just are a fan of whatever team he's on.
Yeah.
So when the athletes are seriously a part of a team, you have to take your fandom to that team.
Okay.
If I want Noah to win, I'm about to look at this shot put. And this random guy I don't know, who, again, you have to figure out how to stratify meets, TV windows. How do you edit everything so that every single performance is a performance of consequences? No more just prelims to finals, no scrimmages. No, everything has to matter. Wins and losses. If you run 5th place in this 100, that's going to have consequences for this team. 5th and 4th place, 4th and 3rd, everything's a consequence. We really going to look at you and be like, hey, you were supposed to go do it.
Yeah.
You didn't do it. Okay, I'm taking you out the 100 for this next meet we got, because I need somebody who's going to get these points on the board. Like, you can build a compelling narrative and keep it in a broadcast window, but now you're selling a product where Noah winning the race isn't the story.
Yeah.
Noah went, because now, and in that world, can we keep using him as a anchor athlete? Noah Lyles isn't running to be the 100-meter champion anymore, or the 200-meter champion. He's now running to lead his team to a championship and be the MVP of the league. That's his new goal. So when I'm watching, because also he now makes decisions about his season alongside the team. But you see why whoever's in a structure like that has to be all in on it. You can't be prepping for Worlds while doing this.
Yeah.
So when you come to this, you have to be paid the same way college athletes like Abby Steiner at Kentucky go do everything. But if you was being compensated to, again, not everybody's talented enough to do that. But what I'm saying is, in general, you would look at your because people can't really evaluate Ryan Krauser next to a sprinter until we put points on a board and be like, yo, this man Ryan Crowder, every time he show up to the meets, he just be throwing those points on the board. I thought that, these sprinters were better than they really are. The sprints is actually going to be, if I was building a team, like when I think about the structure, the sprints is actually so loaded, like it's so kind of like jumbled up, where if I wanted to win a title, I'd be real. I'd put a lot more of my resources in other events because I think I can get more separation in some of those events. Whereas on any given day, if we was going to run regularly between your Trayvons, your Ronnies, people like yourself, even, like it's there's too many people to kind of mix it up and go back and forth for me to feel like it's a really good investment to go ace in the hole on this one athlete because I need points.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, like, because when you say the events, like I've just pulled up like what my vision was even for college. I pulled it up over here. So imagine a track meet, and this is just reading events off. Because you can't do every event in every meet. You just can't.
No.
We'll be here forever. So you could do a track meet where we see a 100 to 400 hurdles. If you want to do a 5K, that's fine. But I'd always say just go down to the 3K for TV purposes. I'm sorry. You could do a 1500. I would do maybe a 4x2. And notice we're not running an open 8. Maybe do a 4x8 in a context of a team structure, something like that. That's the meet on the track. In the field, maybe the high jump, the long jump, the shot put, and the hammer happen. They're all happening concurrently. And yes, you do have to kind of do live look-ins like they do with the Diamond League or whatever. But if we've only got, 4 teams here, like competing or whatever it is, 2 people are in lanes for, the 100 from each team. You see what I'm saying? Like that concept of like, okay, can I keep this meet short enough? Can I keep the stakes high enough? It all works as soon as the athletes say this matters. As long as it's just a thing we're doing, nothing matters. That's why Grand Slam could work. Their original model would work if all the athletes agreed that it mattered. Athlos would work if all the women decide that running in October matters. It will. True. I just don't think that's going to happen for either. I want to believe it will. I don't believe it will. So as a result, I'm like, the only way I can see kind of changing the system, you have to do it one piece at a time. MLS was not a big time league, and maybe now maybe it's not big time, but it's way bigger than it once was. Yeah. They didn't get Messi and people like that to come in the beginning, but they eventually built up to a point when they did. I guess that's why I'm like, it would take patience, and you would have to move in stages, but you have to have the infrastructure from the jump. We can't. Anytime you try to cover with the gimmicks and stuff, what it does, it can ruin, because like you can kind of get false security or false belief that people care when you can't sustain that. Because can we get Ciara to come all the time, or somebody like her?
Nope.
Like, can we? If you can, then maybe. But like, if you can't sustain that for your run and scale it out to 10, 12 events. Because the real money is always in TV. I need you on TV to make product. That's the facts. All this pull-out culture, that's the problem with it. And teams can kind of cover for that. Because when you're out, we picked up a 10-day contract. When LeBron is out, the Lakers about to play anyway. With or without him. If anything, we'll be talking about, well, who's this new guy they put in for him? If he's messing up, we'll be like, yo, we wait until Bron get back. If he's good, we'll be like, yo, Bron, your spot. I mean, his spot's not going to go. But a lot of other players, their spots can actually... somebody gets hurt. Like that's how Jeremy Lin became a thing. Someone was hurt.
I think it was Melo.
Yeah, like because he was supposed to get cut on a 10-day.
Yeah. And
somebody went down, and then they were like, well, all right, fine, you're gonna be here. And then they were like, oh wow, you got to start because this guy's out. So I get in the game. He was on a minimum contract, 10-day contract. Like that's why those minimums, that's why somebody would take one of those. There'll be unattached athletes waiting for a call. Just like, hey, look, I'm going to this meet at Clemson or whatever, just hoping that I run well enough to impress them. so that when they need somebody, I get the call.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone else said, do the athletes even want to run in a team? And I think that's a good question, but I think it goes back to the same thing with like what Noah said, where if the product is there, he'll support it. Then you gotta put it out. So if the team aspect is working, yeah, I think the athletes will want to do it. It's just you have to have something that's established that has a clear vision that the athletes can see works and want to get behind. And maybe you have to start with the bottom up, like you were saying, with the Track Smith type athletes. But stay curious when he says teams would help NCAA's athletes transition to pro. I think that's true because A, they're already used to that team format, so they know exactly what their worth is. And then B, it makes people more, especially in the more obscure events, it makes them more valuable. Like you said, if the sprints are too close, neck and neck, there's too many 9.9 guys in that range, 9.8, whatever, then you might go to a long jump event where you have an 8.3 guy versus the rest of the field that's like 7.8, 7.9. Like that 8.3 guy stands out a lot more and is more valuable, and then they get like drafted or however it works based on that. Whereas if you just look at like, okay, who the shoe companies want to go with? Yeah, they're going to go with the sprinters because that's the hottest event. Then everyone else suffers, and it's you have to be a medalist at the Olympics or World Championships for you to even have value, which is where we've been headed.
You need teams because you need team owners, and you need team owners because they are the ones signing the checks, and you need to diversify your risk. Remember, the WNBA had teams that folded, but the league
did they?
Like the Houston Comets, the Charlotte Sting, like a bunch of teams, Detroit Shock. They're now at a point of trying to grow again, and I'm hoping that for their sake they don't destroy themselves trying to go too fast too quickly on this Caitlin Clark momentum with the negotiations going down. Like I'm following other leagues and how things happen, but that's why you need, like, Grand Slam track is interesting because, again, when you don't have the diversified risk portfolio that way, that thing can collapse real easily. Instead of like, okay, this organization folded. We lost that team, but that doesn't mean the whole league is gone. It just means that team is gone. And now somebody else can put up money. Because also the amount of money it takes to have a team is not the same amount of money it takes to, have the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking somebody to fund the league. Like, that's why you start at an infrastructure level and build out where, you might start where even in the ambitious, some of the ambitious models I had, you could own a team for $1 million. And that's in the ambitious models. If we cut it down, you might be able to own something for 200, 300K. There's a lot of people who can buy into that.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch gears here. We can go all day about pro track and field. We could just talk about our opinions on that. But I wanted to get to some other stuff real quick. So let's look back at hold on, let me fix that. Scrolling. There we go. So I wanted to look back at the season before we move on, since we've been talking a lot about the future of track and field. I want to look back at the 2025 season that we just had. Starting with Athlete of the Year. So I want to know who you thought was Athlete of the Year. We'll start with the men, and then obviously the women after that. But I can go first on this one. To me, I felt like it was between Noah, Wanyoni, and Tinch. And at first glance, I didn't think it would be Noah, but then when I broke it down, I think it's Noah pretty convincingly. What do you think?
I have contradictory impulses, and here's why.
Okay.
I feel like the short sprints are a cheat code.
Yeah.
And the cheat code is the 1 and the 2 go together.
Yes.
So I call it a fake double, not because it's not hard to run both, but because it's just kind of unfair to like the 4x8 doesn't exist as a pro event, for example. So there's no relay for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say like there's certain things that kind of allow you to stack medals a little bit more easily, just because of the way that we run the sport. Like arbitrarily, we just determine we're running 200s.
Right.
So that's a thing. You know, a 100 runner can run the 2, but an 800 runner can't run the 2. And they don't let them run 6s, and they don't let them run 1000s outdoors. So like they don't have a way to double easily. So
Okay.
yeah, so the question is, I'm gonna ask you, how much do we care about that whole, like, okay, like how much weight do you put on a relay medal compared to individual medals? And how much do you think that like the 1-2 double, like getting 2 medals or something, is different from like winning the 8?
So that's why on the surface I didn't think Noah was it. But when I dug in deeper on the numbers, I think Noah's 200 event, just looking at that as his primary thing from this year, was strong enough to compete with the others in their own personal event. And then the 100 and the relay were just kind of icing on the cake. So I get it that it's unfair because he can do more, but that's more opportunity for him to get beat too. And, you know, this year in particular, like he still pulled off the bronze. So I give him a little bit for that. But everybody else, like Rye didn't run enough. Noah won the Diamond League. He went undefeated in the 200, and he beat guys in the 200 in a year where the 200 was super deep. Like that 200 victory at World Championships was impressive. Like you had Kenny going 19.5, you had Lavelle going 19.6, Tobogo going 19.6. So that was like a strong win. And, you know, Tinch had an incredible year. He won the Diamond League. Did he go undefeated? I'm not even sure. I think he might have lost at Grand Slam. But for the most part, he was pretty dominant. But
Okay,
then
Lavelle didn't run like that Lavelle at GST.
no. So I'm talking about Tinch.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
He didn't run like this at GST either. You're right.
yeah. I think he lost one at GST, but Wanyoni, he had a couple L's. I think he lost twice, and you know he had a pretty good season. But like comparing someone like when Noah is doing the 1, 2, and 4x1 to a single event person who doesn't have the opportunity to go to the other events, I got to nitpick, and then you got to be very dominant in your single event for me to go over you. You know, so like we're gonna get to the women later, but in that one, I got MJW over Sydney, and
Okay,
you know, Sydney had a performance for the ages, but I'm just looking at the complete body of work throughout the season, and for me, Noah just that 200 being undefeated is impressive to me. He won the Diamond League title when he didn't even have to go. He won USA Trials when he didn't even have to go. And it's just like, man, this guy won everything in the 2. On top of that, he added in a bronze and then a relay gold. So, you know, I got him.
So I'm gonna say something different. I'm gonna do this by process of elimination.
Okay.
Rye Benjamin won the 400 hurdles. He was DQ'd, then they let him back in, and then he gets hawked in the 4x4, or you know, more or less, because he was ahead and then he wasn't, and they lost. So if we're just, because since we've already put Noah's accomplishments up there, if you're comparing across, he just had to win that relay and he didn't. So Rye, you can't be the winner. I'm sorry. Cordell Tinch did what he was supposed to, and to be the first winner not named Grant Holloway is a big deal in years. However, here's the problem: Grant wasn't Grant in that race or in this meet. Everybody knows that a guy who looked like him showed up, but that's about it. So the question is, if he had beat Grant, I think I could give it to him. That's fair.
Yeah.
If he had beat him straight up.
Yeah.
Because he did, like, I think I could actually come all the way to that side. Because he didn't, and for the record, in my track and field league world model, Cordell Tinch is one of my top picks. But 100% because of his versatility, all of that. But and obviously amazing talent in the hurdles. So I think that's why I say he's not quite there. Not quite there, but like, okay, I want to make that pick. Wanyoni, I think you already addressed the concerns there. He had the one event. They don't give him an extension just like Tinch, and he wasn't lights out.
Yeah.
So as a result, okay. And now, just to be different, I think I'm gonna go with Jimmy Gressier because he did the gold and the
Wow.
bronze at Worlds.
Wow.
So because he brought home a gold and a bronze in another fake double, the 5K, 10K, just to clarify, it's a fake double. We're the same because I coached cross country at the college level for the record, so I know something about some distance.
Okay. Okay.
And the
Were his
5K,
times impressive? I didn't even know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not even worrying about the times right now. I'm just focusing on Noah came back with a gold and a bronze.
Okay.
And he came back with a gold and a bronze.
True.
And no disrespect, I know that Canada got second, but America is always supposed to win the 4x1. At least when Jamaica, because Jamaica has not proven, unfortunately, in recent memory. I mean, they've had some time they got around, but like this year, they had all the talent in the world, and they just weren't able to run like a team.
For sure.
Like America winning gold, and see, that's why like being the Team USA relay coach is a very thankless job.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you won; it's more like you were supposed to win.
Yeah.
So
don't mess it up.
Wins, it's like y'all won.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, they brought a gold home, but you, it's like you messed it up. You didn't win.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna just be different, then I'll say I might give it to Jimmy, just because, you know, he gave us a gold and he gave us the bronze on the world stage.
Okay. Okay.
So
fair enough.
But they're the strong. I don't get me wrong. They're the very clear argument for Noah.
Yeah.
and I would argue it might even be stronger. But if they gave me a vote, I would vote for Jimmy today.
Wow.
Just because.
Okay. All right.
Even though I'm gonna clap for Noah and congratulate him when he can win the award, I'm gonna vote for Jimmy just so he could get one.
Okay. Tade says fair shout out for Noah. Surprised Oblique was not on the list. Yeah, I could see Oblique being up there. But I think what hurts him is the early Grand Slam losses, and then the loss to Kishane. Yeah, the other thing for two is Noah won the Diamond League. Did Jimmy go to the Diamond League? Do you know? The Diamond League final?
Let me see, actually, because I might be able to pull that up in a moment. He did. He won the 3K in the Diamond.
Okay.
This year,
all right. Yeah, I guess he gets more consideration than I thought. Jared.
I know something.
Yeah. Jared, you're asking about Mondo. This is track athlete of the year. They separated it, so Mondo wouldn't be on this. Okay, so the women, like I already alluded to, I would go for Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. Obviously, she's my teammate, and I can't ignore the obvious bias, but I'm trying to be as least biased as I can be. Sydney, see, she in this event, like the 4x4, I don't give her much, just like
because it was a free medal.
Yeah, I mean, like the 4x4 even more so than the 4x1 is a free medal for the US.
For the US women, it's a free medal.
Yeah, but for the men, see, like if the men won, I would actually give them a little bit more credit. Like when they won last year in Paris, beating Botswana, I didn't think they were going to pull it off. I thought Botswana had more firepower, and this year the same thing. So I actually, in that year, I think the competition matters. I would have given them a little bit of a edge for winning. But yeah, for Sydney, it's just like, okay, yeah, they were going to blow everybody out. But that 400, oh my God, I'm still like in awe of what she did. But I'm also in awe of what Melissa did. Like coming into the season, did anybody check for Melissa in the 200?
No, but that's because she had never shown us that she was going to run it.
Exactly. And she won, and she's run faster than any American has at the world stage since what, Allison? Like, because whenever Gabby pulls up to the Worlds and Olympics, she's running like 21.8.
Yeah, she runs faster in Eugene than she does.
Yeah.
At the Worlds or Olympics. Yeah.
And Melissa pulls up at the right time, 21.6, number 9 all time, 10.61, number 4 all time. I mean, her margin of victory in both those races is just insane. Like, she's just gapping the field. And granted, yeah, we didn't get Shrika at her best. We didn't get Gabby there. We didn't get Julian at her best. But with Melissa, I just feel like with them being at their best, she would have like elevated her game, not like hurt it. So I think she goes 10.5 if Julian pulls up and goes 10.60 something. You know, like look, once she separated, it was just like, all right, I got this in the bag, just hold form. But like what she did at Prefontaine when Julian pulled up on her, she like found another step, and that pushed it to that 1075 and that big headwind, which, you know, converts to like a 10.6. So I think like her going 1061, I give her like a 58. If Julian pulls up on her and goes like 65, 66 or whatever. And the same thing in the 200. Like if she hops out in the 2 and then Melissa just walks her down or you know, goes stride for stride with her, I think she might even go a little bit faster. I don't know how much faster, but like, I don't know. She's just from start to finish of the whole season, she took 1 L, which was to Gabby in the 2 when Gabby went 21-9. And, you know, ever since then, she's just like undefeated in the 100. All those 10.6s and 10.7s just effortlessly. I gotta go with Melissa.
See, this is another one where I'm trying to, because it's easy to pick Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. And remember, I've been on the bandwagon for a very long time. Very long time. So, Melissa, if you're watching, trust me, I get it. I get it. But I'm going to pick someone else just for the purpose of argument again. Because I feel like, you know, when you have this many great athletes, you do have to show love.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. So, what I would say is, again, process of elimination. Femke Bol, I mean, 400 hurdles, she was supposed to win it. It wasn't necessarily a PR. I mean, you know, great race for the season, I guess. Sydney's not there. You know, it's different. You know, so we're gonna move her off the list because she did run her relays. She did. Beatrice, this is actually a really interesting list because Beatrice Chabet, she actually, remember, double gold, 5K, 10K.
Yeah.
And they don't have a relay for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like hold that against her. You get what I'm saying? And I just looked it up. She ran the second fastest 3K all time this year.
Damn.
So, I mean, all this number 4, number 9, that all sounds cool. So we say number 2 all time.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a name to call, that's a good name to call. Sydney Mavroni, that 400 was a race we never thought we would see.
Yeah.
People didn't believe it was possible. And the thing is, I'll say this much. If for some reason I don't end up landing on Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, I still have to add the disclaimer. She gave us the greatest track and field moment, not just this season, but perhaps in a long time for people who actually like the sport of sprinting.
Yeah.
I'll say sprinting specifically. Because it was the race, it was the stakes, it was we understand it. The race, the stakes, it was the Olympic gold and silver medals from the year before. The other women had all won world championships. She had raced them in 2023, back when nobody took her as a serious threat yet. It was the doubt on the way in. People were talking, could she even run 48 low? I've never seen it yet. I'm like, I don't know why y'all think you need to see it. She's the only person who I don't have no doubt.
That was me, unfortunately. I thought I gave her 48-0, and me and Anson had the argument, and he nailed it.
I mean, even 48. Like it's just that she.
I thought Paulino go 47-9, which she did, and then Sydney would go 48-0.
But Sydney different, man. Like she different. Like
she's different, man.
Like So it like if I would say like. If then they have to pick one name, because we know what Faith does. But correct me if I'm wrong. She didn't necessarily, set a new world record in that world championship final.
No,
and she doesn't have another medal from the worlds that wasn't that event, right?
Right. I think she won the 15.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just put that on the shelf and be like, celebrate it for what it is. It's kind of like So and for the record, for those who might think I'm even being negative. It's the same reason why after a while they got tired of giving Michael Jordan and LeBron James as MVP awards.
Yeah.
It's like we know their standard was set so high, so if their season isn't as good as the last season, but still better than everybody else, we start looking at everyone else because we're measuring you to yourself. So part of me wants to say Beatrice Chabet because of the double gold and the number 2 all time. Because Sydney went number 2 all time. And it was gold in a 4x4. And then Melissa did a sprint triple. And it's easy for me as the sprint guy who's a Melissa Jefferson-Wooden fan to just go on that bandwagon. So it's almost like I'm making myself go against the grain. to be like, you can't have a list like this and act like these other people did not give us some really amazing. It's just, it's an amazing group of ladies, because I'm gonna just make a case and say, for the purpose of argument, Beatrice Chabet, for the purpose of argument. But Melissa, I love you. God bless.
Okay.
Bless you and your family, you and your husband, all of that.
See, I gotta admit, I'm very biased, I guess, because immediately when I saw this list, like, I know Faith did her thing, and I know Beatrice did her thing. I didn't realize Beatrice was number 2 all time, so I immediately went, okay, it's between Sydney and Melissa, and that was my dilemma. But now, once I know that Beatrice went number 2 all time and she got double gold,
but that makes it hard. 3K in a different race. That wasn't it at the Worlds. It was double gold at the Worlds.
Okay, so what did she do in the 5 and 10K?
Yeah, aside from the gold, like, where with her like all-time performances for those?
Yeah, so they don't have. Why do they have the 3K at Diamond League and then 5-10 at Worlds? Just because of the competition window or the TV window? I think
it might be. Again, distance is a little unique in terms of like, like kind of how the races stack their way, but I'm trying to see what it. Wait. Okay, Chabet broke. Wait, she had the 5K world record. What are we talking about, bro?
Chabet?
She broke, according to this, at Prefontaine.
Ooh.
Okay, conversation's done, bro. We done.
Ooh, no.
We done.
Damn. See, I thought Melissa's gonna bring it home.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
She's a world record holder in the 5K, and I believe that's from, according to the data they telling me. That was, because I watched Prefontaine, but I didn't, obviously my focus, because I was covering the meet, so I was focused on the sprints, so I wasn't like drinking that in. Yeah, but yeah, she broke the world record and the 5K, and then go double gold 5K. What are we doing, bro? Beatrice, come on, man, respect.
Yeah.
Hey, whether we watched every single step or not, whether we did or we didn't, if you give me a world record, double gold, and number 2 all time in another event.
Dang. Okay. I'm still gonna go for my girl, but damn.
Oh yeah.
It might be over. I don't know.
By all means, but this is different. The other vote, for the men, I was just casting a vote to be different. This time, I'm gonna cast this vote with confidence. I'm sorry. Like, I think I gotta just say, okay, well, double gold, world record, number 2 all time in a 3K.
Oh man! All right.
Whoo, that's a season right there. You can retire.
Be consistently. I've just heard too many athletes say they choose track and field because in individual sport they don't want their sex from the man. All right. So that's athlete of the year, and that brought a lot of insight to me. It made me, especially on the women's side. So that's good. But another thing that we saw this year was a legend, hanging it up. Of course, I'm talking about Shelly and Fraser Price. To me, I think she's the GOAT. I've had a lot of debate about this with my teammates, specifically Brendan Rodney and Dwayne Azamoto. They have Elaine as the GOAT. I want to know what your take is. Who do you have as the GOAT? Or is it even somebody other than those two?
All right. Well,
to me, it's between them two, but maybe put someone out. Maybe put a Flojo in there.
There's interesting arguments to be made on the women's side when we're talking about the 1-2 and like short sprinting. If we're just talking about the 100, if we're going to talk about, because Shelly Ann Fraser Price is the LeBron James of the 100. That's what she is, because LeBron James gave you the longevity and stayed at that high level for so long, longer than we really expected anyone to be able to, that we were waiting for the fall off. Is it now? Is it now? Is it now? And I think this year she finally showed actual fall off. And even still, the point of being so great is that when you fall off, you can still fall back to the field.
Yeah.
That's what it does. It's like Vince Carter at 40. For the folk who didn't know, like for the 19-year-old who came in the league, who's hooping against a 41-year-old Vince Carter, you
Mhm.
don't realize that Vince Carter, when you was a toddler, was the business.
Mhm.
Like, you don't know that was 30 a game then.
Mhm. Mhm.
For him to be able to still go out there with you now.
Yeah.
So she gave us some of that energy. So I think the total body of work, if we're going to count Olympics, Worlds, all of it, you land on Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce to me. But you could also, if the Olympics is what matters most to you,
Mhm.
then I can see why. Because see, Elaine Thompson, hurrah, her the vote for her comes from a Michael Jordan-esque type argument. I'm not saying she's the Jordan of this. I'm saying it'd be that argument because
Yeah.
he gave a 6-year stretch or 8 years if you count the time off where he was the guy and it was
Yeah.
unquestioned.
Yeah.
And if the Olympics is all you cared about, then she did that.
Yeah.
She gave you 2 Olympic cycles where when it was time to show up,
Yeah.
you wasn't beating me.
Yeah.
And but I don't know that again for I think Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce was so good for so long, and I think she was close enough on accomplishments when you just add it all up. Where I think you kind of have to give it to her because I don't like the Olympics being the only thing that we pay attention to, even in the current model. So that's why I kind of have to broaden my horizons.
Yeah. And so the main two arguments, and just like you said, with Jordan, it's the 6-0 rings, and he has other stats, and I feel like when people just only talk about 6-0, they're underselling Jordan because he was great in other things too, like the 10 scoring titles and 5 MVPs and stuff like that. But the main thing with Elaine is the double-double, going back to Tokyo and Rio, winning the 1 and 2, and then her PRs being faster. Other than that, it's all Shelly Ann. Like, if you take out the Olympics,
that's a lot to say. Other than that,
it is. And I'm not trying to sweep that under the rug like it's nothing, but there is more to the game than just the Olympics and times. Like you say, longevity, consistency, having that elevated, consistent, great performances. Like that 2022 season when she was going 10-6, like she did like 7 10-6s in 1 year. She wins. She has a back-to-back 100-meter gold at the Olympics. So it's not like her Olympic resume is shabby by any stretch. She's got 2 Olympic 100-meter titles and then Olympic silver in 2021. Was she at Rio? I don't know.
Oh, you mean wait? Wait. What do you mean?
2016.
You mean for the
I don't
200?
know. For the 100. How was she finished there?
Oh, I believe
Maybe she was off with pregnancy.
I'm pretty sure she was in the final. It's just when we're talking numbers, things can kind of See, you got Bronze and Rio. That's what one person is saying, and
Okay.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, so she's still getting on the podium, and then she's got 500-meter title. Like, how do we argue with that, man? Like, 500-meter titles plus another 100-meter or 200-meter title in Moscow. She did the triple, in Moscow. The first one or the last one to do it since MJW just did it. It's crazy. Like, I just can't get over that. As great as Elaine is, she's number 2 for me. But yeah, to me, it's a clear Shelly Ann.
Yeah, I'll give the J. Cole line. They both, they both changed the game. What I mean?
Yeah.
Who's to say who's the greatest? All we know, they ain't the same. So I'll revert back there because it's hard to make a decision depending on what you want to emphasize.
Mm-hmm.
But Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, she's retiring, so now everything's in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And she's been celebrated. I've celebrated her in a few different platforms. This will just be another because I think she's an athlete who belongs to the world. I think that's what happens in the current format of track and field with this international only, that's all we got model, where she broke through, where she belonged to everyone. She wasn't just Jamaica's athlete. And maybe that's why I think Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce is better. I don't know if Elaine Thompson Herah ever felt like she belonged to all of us.
No.
It felt like she was Jamaica's, but that's because Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce was here with us longer.
Yeah. And I don't even think Jamaica endears Elaine as much as they do with Shelly because she's so volatile. Like in between the Olympic years, you don't know what you're gonna get from her. She could be off the podium, she could be a bronze, she could be hurt. Like she doesn't have a world title in the 100 or 2 outside of the Olympics. Granted, she was close that one year when Daphne Skippers, they both went 21-6. But other than that, like her world championship years are pretty, and there's more world championship years than there are Olympic years. So that's why Shelly Ann has 5 titles where Elaine has 0, you know? Actually, well, that's 5 in the 100. That just sounds crazy to say. 5 titles in the 100 meters. Wow.
I mean, if you really, I mean, I said this, in a conversation on the finish line, and I was like, in sports, when you really become special, the way you become a multiple time champion is you have to have some form of a skill gap. But I have to clarify what I'm saying, and sometimes people still don't get it. A skill gap is something that you're able to do that other people can't, that it almost allows you like to exploit the rules. That's typically you hear it in context of, again, like football or basketball or whatever. But track and field, like it's kind of hard to process what we mean by that. But there's no way you could keep coming out on top if there were moments when you weren't doing it right, but you were able to still get it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like even when things mess up, I'm able to cover for it. And I think that's where the longevity, like, because I mean, you tell me, it's possible that you can execute, close to a perfect race, right?
Yeah.
And that might just be pristine. But who would you rather have? The person who, 50% of the time might hit it right, or the person who can consistently give you 9 out of 10?
The latter.
Because I can bank on that. And if we run a bunch of these races.
Yeah.
Remember, even in the NCAA tournament, and I know I'm making a lot of basketball references today, but like I think there's so many, this is how I understand the world, the carryovers. When you are a small team and you're trying to get an upset, granted in the pre-NIL era when people didn't just hopscotch and transfer and all that, but like before then, the way you got an upset was typically, you slowed the game down and decreased the number of possessions. The simple logic was, I need to keep you from having as much opportunity for your talent to win out. Because if we shoot the ball 100 times and you better than me, at some point you can start making more. But if you only shoot it 50 times, I might be able to win this one. I just need to cut it down, give it the minimal amount of options. So I think when you stay in you have to, be good enough to stay in the game long enough. And if you really have that talent, it's like, if we just keep running these races, you do realize I'm going to win more than you will.
Yeah.
I think that's why I land. There's 2 ways how I end up keep landing on Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, which isn't to take away from Elaine Thompson-Herah at all. It's just those 2 different angles that bring me back to the same conclusion again.
Where is Elaine anyway?
As last time, she's been trying to get herself ready and recovered. She's dealt with injuries. That's the last I heard. And that's still a to be continued. She's not gone, or she doesn't plan to be gone.
Yeah.
But she's trying to figure it out to get back. I do think the body, like, I know this is Otto Bolden's standpoint on it, that the body does come to a point when it's done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's done. I'm saying I won't go that far. I'm saying that the body can get to a point where it's like, okay, we can't do that anymore. And I don't know, maybe I think when she does come back, assuming that we get to see her again, the question is, will she be Prefontaine 2021 Elaine Thompson-Herah?
Last time we saw her, she wasn't.
Yeah, like I think that's gonna be, because that's what people are gonna expect.
Yeah.
That's what they're like when they don't want to see you be not your absolute best.
Yeah. I think she's got a very similar trajectory. If Marcel Jacobs were to do what he did again last year in Paris, it would look like almost the same as Elaine, where like his ceiling was 980 and 641 or whatever he ran in the 60.
Yeah, 640 low. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I don't
So
know. I
like,
don't think it was 641, but like with he's in the top 10 all time. I know that much.
yeah,
I did a video
yeah,
on it. So
it was 6'4" low something. But like, we expect that high ceiling, but when he's dealing with all the injuries and stuff, like he'll throw out a 10-2, and we'll be like, what the hell are we watching right now? Like, I think it's the same phenomenon. Granted, Elaine's done a lot more than Marcel has, but it's kind of the same arc where, like, the last time we saw her in Paris, or the Paris year last year, she was running way off of what we saw. Like, I think she ran like she might have ran 22 last, or not 22, 23 in the 200, and like 11.5. It was something like way off. We're like,
but she didn't run much that year though.
yeah.
Yeah, like
I don't know. That's another. I think the optics of seeing someone do that, like seeing Shelly Ann run 11.0 this year was weird, but at least she can make the finals with that. Like, at least she's still making the team. She's never not made a team. So it's like, I don't have the optics of looking at you and you not being as great as I remember you. You know, like, we know she's not medal shape, Shelly, this year, but like, she didn't fall way off the standard. Whereas Elaine, we've seen her way off the standard.
yeah, but I mean, they're because they're two separate cases. I think Shelly Ann Fraser Price is just older.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it was. Like,
Yeah.
don't let anybody fool you. When you get older, it takes more to get performance out of your body
Yeah.
than it used to.
For sure.
More time, more preparation, more work, more treatment, more everything, more focus, more attention to detail. Things you used to just roll up to the track at 19 and do.
Yeah.
You don't do it at 31.
I know that right now. That's what I'm dealing with. I got to spend more money, got to take more time, all this stuff just to get the same that just came naturally before.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
So I think that's why I say, like, with one, I think it was just age catching up to her. But even then, I think she was still doing everything right to be able to. And with Elaine, I think it's like her body is actually fit, because like the injuries. The question is like how put it. I think, is it fair that some athletes are just more durable than others?
Yeah.
Like, genetically, you can just be set up for success.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then like we can blame the athlete. And the truth is, like, speaking of somebody who had to battle injuries even in my college career, and had to figure out how to stay on the track. Like, I just had a body that didn't do well to be able to, like, I had to do a lot more than other people did just to be able to be as productive. And it's just the way the card are dealt. You still have to assess people's careers for what it is. So it may not be her fault as far as like the injury history for Elaine Thompson-Herah, but she still has to deal with it. And we can't act like it's like, because we can only grade the production. That's what I'm trying to say. We can only grade the production. And the production has just not been the same. So, but hey, if you're in, that's what I say. If you're in that Olympics only zone, then yeah, she can go up there with the best of them in that top room of the Hall of Fame and say, I belong here.
Yeah. And that 10.5 and 21.5 do speak volumes too. But I still got to go with Shelly.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I think that the day that we get to where winning matters more than anything, that's when track and field will truly be able to arrive as a sport.
I agree.
As long as the clock is being used as an evaluator so for some people above all else, it hurt, because remember that we talked about this offline. You might be able to run that time over there, but if when you step to the line with me every time you behind, who cares what you ran over there? And we really have a world where people will say you're better just because of a clock. Whereas in everybody else's sport, winning and losing is the determining factor of greatness versus not greatness. No matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, a win is still a win. I think when we get there, that's when I think we'll be able to really sell the product. We'll realize way more easily.
Yeah.
So you just need a structure where people can feel that energy of oh man, like this who wins this is all that matters.
Mm.
And they'll do whatever they got to do to get across the line in front.
Yeah. Another thing I got to add too is that Elaine does have a winning record slightly over Shelly, which was surprising for me to see. But
you just looked it up.
Yeah. So I don't know how
athletics allows us to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how much that factors in. I'm still going Shelly, but it is closer than I would expect. What? All right. This is the last thing I want to get into. Right on your wheelhouse. Greatest American sprinters.
Because of the Noah interview?
Yeah. So we'll start with Noah. Where do you think he ranks all time as an American sprinter?
Well, let's go through the contenders. So who has to be who's in the discussion first?
So Michael Johnson, Carl Lewis, Justin Gatlin, Maurice Green. I think that's consensus. That's the top. Group, yeah, that's the group. I mean, from this generation, I think it's pretty clear that Noah's got it. You know, the contenders would be Fred, Christian, Trayvon.
Bro, I'm not even going to waste your time, man. When you bring up from this generation,
I think it's pretty clear.
Bring up.
Yeah,
there's only one man in the world since Bolt retired who has 2 golds in the 1 and the 2. Only one man.
Yeah,
everybody else is still trying to get their second gold, and this man got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
so it's 6-1. Everybody else. So we don't even got to waste our time on this generation.
Right. So what does he need to do to pass a Mo Green, a Gatlin? I think he's already got Michael Johnson beaten the 2, personally. But if you have him up below him, then Michael Johnson.
So here's the question: do you consider the Olympics and the Worlds to be on the same level? That's question 1, because I have a few.
I do.
You say they're on the same level in terms of the gold medals count the same.
Okay, let me hold on. It's a slight edge. Only because the magnitude and the weight of having the world put so much importance on it, even though I personally think that World Championships is harder, just from the fact that you got to buy, so you're competing against more people from most times America. But the way it plays out most times, you know, that 4th person that gets in might not, like, it might be some college kid or somebody who just had a good meet at World Championships. No disrespect, but like, it comes down to like 2-3 of the top American guys. But yeah, I think the Olympics, just because of the magnitude of the moment, I give it a slight edge for winning that. And you can't win as many as quickly. So like going back to back is harder in the Olympics than going back to back in the World Championships, just because they're spread out.
Yeah. I mean, because the next thing is, so I asked another way. Would you say that's how, do you feel like that's the general consensus amongst athletes, that they're almost the same?
No.
Okay.
I think people put a lot more in the Olympics than the World Championships.
And that was my thought.
It hurt him because he hasn't got an Olympic gold in the 2, which is insane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because see, that was my thought. And as a result, I think Olympic medals mean twice as much as world medals.
Really? So you're in that camp?
I think that only because that's what everyone else agreed on.
Okay.
I'm joining the camp. Again, I think this is all a joke. Everybody like all this is just international competition. Everybody else has it and they celebrate it and then they go back to their professional lives. We're the only ones who make our whole pro life aim towards one thing.
Right.
That isn't even a pro event. That's why, so that, just to clarify the full thought. But if I'm just looking at what the people are agreeing, if the athletes are telling me the Olympics matters more, and all the fans think that it matters more, and all the fans in America didn't even realize the world happened. Like that's where they started their negotiations from. Yeah. Then at that point, it's like, okay, when I'm looking back at that list, I have to put more weight on the Olympic championships
Okay.
than I do anything else. So even when so it's like world championship gold medals are like drops in the bucket. I don't even know if I would. I mean, silvers and bronzes. Do we even recognize those at that point?
When you're talking about the greatest American sprinter ever, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it's a sweetener. It's
Yeah,
not
like
as
sweet
it's
and
not
low.
as
It ain't sugar. Like
it's sweet and low, you know. But like I got to give someone like a Justin credit for being able to get silver at age 39 or whatever he was in Doha. So that's why I said like it's not a complete waste. But if his silvers in his prime didn't hold as much weight as the latter part of his season, if that makes sense, you know, like the longevity factor starts to help his case more than they hurt his case when he's losing to like a Bolt.
because like
in his prime.
again, like for those who listen to the whole live, hey, if you still riding with us from the beginning till now, you a real one.
Facts.
You are a real one. That said, because you've done heard me say a lot of these, but this is just again how I understand it. Where thinking about like how accomplishments are done. I did a stat analysis some time ago about the NBA Finals and specifically winning it versus getting there.
Mm.
If you want to win the finals, it's near impossible. Like Jason Tatum winning with the Celtics,
Yeah.
was weird because it was one of the few times that you had a team win without having somebody who'd already been an NBA MVP or had been a finals MVP in some other year at the bare minimum.
Right.
Before they helped your team do it.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it was almost like you could have gone through 30 years of history and not picked the Celtics just for that one fact.
Yeah.
So, but making the finals, the standards to do that are much lower. You just need a perennial all-star on your team. That's all you need.
Okay.
The type of guy who ain't even a first ballot Hall of Famer, a Jimmy
Right.
Butler.
Yeah.
If I could get a Jimmy Butler and some spare parts, I might be able to get to the finals. But I just don't have a chance to win it. So that's why, like, if we're only tracking the golds, and Olympics matters more than the Worlds, if this is what we're dealing with, forget about Diamond League finals. Like,
so that doesn't hold any weight.
Golden League or whatever.
Title.
So at that point, like, what Noah needs to do, well, 100% he needs to win the 200 at
LA.
Well, actually, let me back up. Yeah, the 100 and 200 on the same level. Because I don't think I know the American public doesn't think it is, but like between us, where do we even put it?
Yeah. Oh man. I gotta say, for the same reason, it's a slight edge, just like the Olympics over the World Champ. On its merit, it shouldn't be, but because of how the public considers it, like him, let's just say he just stayed with the two like he'd been doing since his first world team, and just kept racking up 200-meter golds. I don't think his legacy jumps up as high as it does with him dropping down to the one and getting that win in 2023 and 24. So I do think because of that, his 100, the 100 is slightly above the two.
Okay.
Like if Melissa Jefferson-Wooden was just a 200-meter runner and then dropped down in the 100, it would mean more than what she did this year.
Yeah.
Where she was perennial 100 girl and now she added the two. Like it's seen as a secondary event. And I think the same way it hurts Sharika, where she's been so dominant in the two, but she doesn't quite get as much credit as she would have if those were the 100 titles.
Okay.
But I think it's only slight.
Yeah, because see, when we're stacking it up and you're looking at, okay, well, I think everybody puts Carl Lewis at the top. So let's, clarify why he's at the top. See, Carl Lewis is, to me, the best track and field athlete of all time. And I don't even really think it's that close because he had a sprinting career and a jumping career.
Okay.
And his jumping career was so top notch and his sprinting career was so top notch. Carl Lewis is the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of track and field.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was so good for so long that he almost had 2 careers. Whenever I
Yeah.
would do stat analysis, I would literally break his career in 2 halves. And either of those halves was a Hall of Fame top 10 career by itself. And guess what? We somehow weren't giving him the number 1 spot. Carl Lewis probably does have the number 1 spot, but I'm saying he feels like that. Because if we're just going off of the sprint gold at the Olympics, you've got from the 100 and 200, let's just put them on the same level for argument's sake. You've got 1, 2, 3 golds in the 1 and the 2 at the games that are on the books, right?
Okay.
And then with the worlds, you've got, and Noah had 1. Since he's the one who's in this current generation. In the world, you're going 1, 2, 3 100-meter titles as well.
Damn.
So Noah has passed him on that piece on the worlds, but he's still 2 behind on the Olympics. And the only time I care about the clock is when you are the active world record holder when you did it. And he was. So for that reason, yeah, Carl was clearly ahead of you. I mean, could you catch him? He would need to sprint triple or something like that. If he could sprint triple into LA, then fine. Like now, I think that because it can't be 2027. That ain't gonna count. You need it at the Worlds. That's when he would need it in order to be even to enter a half for us to even enter a Jordan LeBron debate with Carl Lewis. We'd have to see a sprint triple from him. So now it's like, well, we know you're behind him, so we got to see everybody else.
So if he tripled at Beijing, you wouldn't give that the same.
He could maybe mess with Mo Green or something. Like he can go mess with them in the Hall of Fame room, but it would because we've agreed because the consensus. See what the athletes agree. See, this is how it works. When the athletes say it matters, the fans we follow suit. That's
well, the track fans say it matters. It's just the general public doesn't.
No, I think it's beyond that. I think, okay, I'll give you the quote from Quincy Wilson. He was, I don't remember which show he was on, but he was talking with, some of these athletes, as a matter of fact, he might've been on Beyond the Record, who knows, whatever it was. But the whole point is he's, talking with athletes on a podcast and he's like, tell me, about the Olympics and what's it like? Or something like, or winning a gold. And somebody started talking about world things. Like, no, the real thing.
Damn.
Because where he's coming from, I remember being a high school kid in America. I knew what the Olympics was. I didn't even know we had a world championship.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't know. I didn't even know it was a thing. So so it's clear that it's just not equal. And it's not equal in anybody else's sport either. That's why I keep looking at the other sports. The only sport where it might be reversed is soccer, where they do the World Cup. And I think the World Cup does take on, like they built it up over time to make it become a huge spectacle to the point where for the men, they didn't even do the men's soccer at the Olympics. They did U23. So there was no point in sending the real men because they were like, well, they're not going to take it serious. So let's send the kids. So for that reason, I think we got to see the Olympics as special. Gatlin has, that 100 in 2004 gold from the games. Gatlin gets hurt because he's in the Bolt era. And it's hard for us to forget that when you got back, you couldn't beat him. Like Bolt had to be on his retirement tour for you to beat him.
Right.
And even then that was like slight. So I think it's not his fault. It's just the nature of you were in the wrong era, bro. But then again, he could have went back to, because see, when we played the whole eras game, that's why I throw the clock out. If I put you back in 1990, you're going to have to run with all the stuff they have. If I bring someone from 1990 and bring them here now, they're going to have all the modern inventions and, advantages that you have. So that's why I just try to grade like where you were with the people who you were riding with.
Yeah.
Because Bolt brought people faster. Because that's why nobody can figure out how to go faster than 975, 976 right now. Because you don't have the fastest man to ever run in the world to show you how to go faster. If we threw him out here, like that version, and y'all had to deal with him for the last 5-6 years, y'all would have found some faster times. You would have had no choice. Everybody would have just got a little bit extra out of their PRs would have just went a little bit further down. I
Okay.
think that's how I understand it. So I think Noah is behind. He's definitely behind Carl. Gatlin, I think he might be. If we're talking about Olympics, he only got 1 gold.
Gatlin?
He only has 1 gold. He
Yeah,
does
both
have
of them do.
he does have an additional silver aside from the
And a
bronze
bronze.
that match. And Noah has
2 bronze and a gold.
more gold medals at the Worlds than Gatlin does at this time, and he ain't retired.
Yeah.
Like individuals, throwing out all the relay stuff. So, and I'm only paying attention to the golds for the purposes of argument. So if that's the case, then yeah, he might have just snuck past Gatlin.
So where does times rank
We're
in
on the
for you in
same
terms
room.
of what matters?
Times, I'm only going to evaluate times in terms of for the reason I just mentioned about eras.
Yeah.
That like just like if I threw you back to 1932, you ain't gonna run what you run now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, remember Andre did the whole like, running the old shoes where they dug it in the dirt and stuff, and he was like, "Oh snap,
Mhm.
this ain't the same."
Yeah.
So that's why everybody wanted to throw times around. I think I just put times on the shelf, and I'm just going to think like a competitor from another sport and say, "Who did you play? Who did you beat?"
Okay.
And a great like grade you on the era that you were in, and
Mhm.
what was your dominant score against the field we gave you?
Well, I think that helps Noah then because his PR is 979, which is still slower than Justin's and tied with Maurice Green, but he's in an era where it should be faster because when Mo Green did it, it was the world record.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if you take out the times, then it helps. But then in the 2, Noah Lyles has the American record and number 3 time all time in the 200. So that would help him.
Maurice Green only had 1 Olympic gold medal in the 100. Only 1.
Damn.
No other gold medals individually. Silver and bronze. Well, sorry, a bronze in 2004. And then he has 1, 2, 3, 4 world gold medals, just like Noah.
So what about Michael Johnson? Michael Johnson has the
Oh,
2.
I mean, now granted, Mo Green did have the world record. He did.
Yeah.
That happened. I'm not taking that
Mhm.
away. I'm just throwing out all the relays for a moment and putting times on the shelf. So I think even Mo still has him, but it's like slight. I think like if you were scoring it, I'd say you could still give Mo Green like because see Noah's career is not done. So let's just assume he's getting more medals. All he has to do is pull up in 2027 and like be himself. Especially if he wins a gold in the 1 or the 2, he just put
Mhm.
Justin Gatlin to bed and Maurice Green to bed. That
Mm.
conversation is done. Now we're moving up to the MJ Carl Lewis debate, and
So
now I'm
Carl's
looking at
number 1 and MJ's number 2 for you?
well now I'm stacking it because MJ has 3 golds at the Olympics, and his world gold he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Jeez.
So yeah, they're not on the same. They're not in the same room. They're
Yeah.
not in the same room with Maurice and Justin. They're the welcoming committee.
Okay. So
It's
right
like
now
you
he's
meet
in
them on
that
the outer
Maurice.
room and you see them in the inner room. Noah just made it into the room with Justin and Maurice, and they're like, "Yo, young buck, you almost there, but you're not done." He's like, "I'll be there." That's all. I think he's behind all of them, but he's barely behind those first 2, and then he's
Mm,
got some work to do to catch Carl and MJ.
that's
And
fair.
they might not. They might be out of reach. He might just have to be content with being number 3.
Mm. Someone brought up a good comparison. So they said Sharika versus Elaine in the 200. Normally you would think it'd be Sharika because she ran what 21-4 like twice. She's got how many world titles? 3. She won in Budapest, Eugene.
2023, 2022.
So she okay, 2 titles. Yeah, I think it's just on the times in the 2 titles where Elaine she doesn't have any world titles, but she has the double at the Olympics. But if you're
Yeah.
stacking it where Elaine has an edge winning the Olympic titles over the world titles, do you put Elaine as a better 200 runner?
I mean, she did it when she's supposed to. I mean, like If again, since everybody agreed the Olympics is the moment, like that's just where we're starting the negotiations on the current version of track and field we're dealing with
Yeah.
until otherwise stated, then more or less, like in every training group across the world, yours included, when
Hmm.
you sit down with your coaching staff, because it's not just Dennis Mitchell, it's the whole staff.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, every decision that's made is to put LA 2028 in the best possible position. Am I right? You
Yep.
likely would not make any decision that would be, we could do this, but you might not make the Olympic team in 2028.
Right.
That would be we don't do it. So that's why we put more weight on it, because it's the only conversation that everybody agreed on. Every other conversation, it's too much like, what does this matter to me? What does it matter to them? Like, we don't really
Yeah.
know, well, how much were they trying when they ran this race? That's why it's hard for us to get behind anything as fans, because y'all are not all on the same page that it matters. The moment all the athletes get on the same page, indoors, I'm not making this up, y'all could decide we're not going to World Indoor. But all the sprinters who ran at the World Championships, at the Olympics, if everybody said we're all going to put a bid in to go to New Balance Indoor this year, they're going to have to pick from all of us to determine who's going to be in this field. And whoever wins this 60, we're going to call it the King of the 60. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know. King of the Sprints, whatever. Just come up with a thing. Go to social media. Everybody starts posting and saying, we're going to New Balance Indoor. You don't think we're all going to watch that 60? We will. And we will, it'll become a thing, and it'll get hyped up, and it'll become a moment because you told us that it mattered. Because everybody said, Oman Yala said he's running. Akani said he coming. Everybody said, yo, give me an Elaine. Put me in, coach. If everybody said they're going to Milrose, it ain't the 100. But if y'all tell us that it matters, but then y'all actually go into interviews and tell us it don't matter. That's the thing. Y'all literally say in the interviews, well, I'm preparing for this. I'm ramping up for that. Oh, well, for where I am in my training. These are all things we don't hear in anybody else's sport for the most part.
Yeah.
If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win.
All right. Well, this will be the last one, and then we'll get up out of here. We're almost at 3 hours, so gotta call it a night. But
the time has been far spent because we spent it far, to quote my mama.
All right. So MJW, and now since I have it in my mind that you have the Olympics over the World Championships, does she have an argument to be the best in this generation now? Still, she's got an Olympic bronze. Yeah, for America.
I mean, let's go through the facts, because Jamaica was running things for so long.
I know.
I mean, nobody had the gold at the games in the 100.
Right.
Like, we ain't win
Sherry
nothing
has a
yet.
silver and a world title.
But got a bronze.
Carmelita's got 100. So I'm going from like my era, from when I started running up. So that would be like a 2012 up. That was when I was a senior. So you got girls like Tori Bowie, Shikari, Allison Felix, Carmelita. I think that might be everybody that you'd put in there.
Yeah, because Carmelita Jeter never won an Olympic gold medal.
No.
Yeah, she won a World 2011 100. And that's her only gold medal individually in her career.
Yeah, Tori
never already passed you.
Passed who?
Because if I'm only counting golds for the purposes of argument, she already passed Carmelita with that sprint triple.
She's also, yeah.
Carmelita Jeter had to go to the World in 2007 and 2011 and win 2 relays to come back with the same amount of medals.
So is she higher than Shikari now?
Well, yeah. I mean, sprint triple versus I'd say, because Shikari don't have an Olympic gold.
She's got an Olympic silver and World Championship bronze and World Championship gold.
I mean, just for the purposes of argument. So, hey, if you're in the comment section, this is why I'm saying it. For the purposes of argument, I'm going to act like this whole silver and bronze thing is arbitrary. We just decided to hand out medals because we felt like it, because it's historic. And we're only going to focus on winning. And if we're only focusing on winning for the purposes of argument, she ain't win. She's the first loser. And as a result, Julian Alfred is the winner. And Shikari was not. But Shikari won in 2023.
Yeah.
So Melissa Jefferson-Wooden across the board, yeah, I'd say this season already, it's just one season. But that one season was like, just forget the clouds. Like,
Yeah.
1, 2, 4x1. So there you go. It's like it now moves you at least into the same discussion. Like we could no longer from now on go to a race and think Sha'Carri is a favorite when Melissa's in it. We get the bare minimum. You can say I'm taking Sha'Carri, and here's why.
Yeah.
But the days of Sha'Carri is supposed to beat Melissa, that day is dead and gone.
So what are you expecting in these next few years going towards LA? Who would you think? Like, are you just rolling with Melissa, or like you still think Sha'Carri can rise up, or what's your thoughts?
There's so many. I've thought about this, and there's so
Yeah.
many variables to put into play because I understand that the body can only peak but so many times. You can only train. Like, so as a result, it's like, okay, let's just assume everybody's able to be healthy and at their best self.
Mm-hmm.
If we play the game that way, then Melissa's in the driver's seat compared to Julian Alfred and Sha'Carri Richardson right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're talking about the 1-2 ladies, because Gabby Thomas comes into the 2, Sharika Jackson. I think after watching this season, I feel like winning another gold for her, especially in the 100, might not be in the cards. I could see maybe her getting back to, I don't think we're ever going to see 2022, 2023 Sharika again. I think I'm now saying that, but I think we might still see that gap zone, like where she might be able to be somewhere between that woman and who she was this year in the future. And that might be enough to get another gold in the 2. But yeah, marching it forward, I think Melissa, and this is as honest as I could be, I think you might have to put her in the driver's seat if everybody's going to be at their best.
Mm-hmm.
However, a lot of variables between now and LA 2028.
Got the Clayton twins too.
Oh yeah, I mean, but see, that's potential. That's projecting out what people going to do, and the danger of the potential game is there's many examples you could use. I'm not taking shots. I'm just talking about history of how people played out. Where Area Knighton was 4th at the Olympics at 17, came back 3 years later, was in the same spot. Everybody played the potential game. He about to go do this. He about to go do that.
Yeah.
Can he be? It's over at the Olympics. 3 years later, same spot.
Yeah.
4 years later, same spot. 2022 to 2025, same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like we try to, I don't doubt that that everybody's doing the best that they can, changing their training, every little detail. But like to run a PR, you have to do everything as well as you ever did it in life and then make a correction. That's why other sports, you don't have to PR in anybody else's sport to be special.
Yeah.
You can go have 30 in a game and then do it again. And we celebrate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do, right? In everybody else's sport, you can, have 3 touchdowns and then you can have 3 touchdowns again. That's why when we get to winning, we can actually start to look like everybody else's sport because now you can just be dominant and being dominant can be celebrated. But that also means that if you ain't dominant, you ain't getting to this final. Ain't no more of this, I'm going to get ready for USAs. I'll get ready for the trials. You lost your first race of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You just lost your second race of the season. You better start picking it up because if you take too many losses, you ain't going to be in another race.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we become a real pro sport. If everybody agrees to that, we'll pay you for your time.
Got a long way to get there.
I can dream, right?
Yeah.
Because I love our sport. I really do, and I see the potential, and I see how y'all dedicate way too much, way too much to the sport, and you offer so much. Where it's not the job of the athletes to fix the problems. That's not your job. You're not supposed to be owners. Y'all not no, I'm not throwing a shot at Athlos. I'm just saying that's not your job. Y'all are supposed to focus on being the best athletes you can, and you've done that part. Y'all have universally, I think I've seen that around the world, and y'all have really, when it comes to the World Championship product, everybody's been complicit in making that product be a top tier product. It's not your fault that it just lacks the infrastructure to be engaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault. You did what was asked of you, and you did it at the highest level. Somebody else has to come behind and say, I'm gonna provide the infrastructure. The same way the NBA told them players, you're gonna play 82 games. The players said we want to play 72. They said that's fine. We'll just cut your checks down. They said, what do you mean we're gonna cut the check? They said we got these TV deals.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll play 82 games. The players they said maybe we should get rid of the All-Star game since y'all don't want to play it hard. The players said no, don't do that. They said why not? Y'all don't want to act like y'all don't want to play. They're like because our contract bonuses are tied to it. I think so. Go out there and play the All-Star game.
Yeah.
You see why you need people to like who ain't you? People who do the business part and you bring the talent, and guess what? Everybody can get paid handsomely if we do it right. One day.
But with the Athlos model, with them being athlete owners, I mean, I don't even know how it's going to play out. I don't know if they're going to run or if they're just the owner or what. But like, let's assume that them being athlete owners of the team, they actually have to compete too. Wouldn't that be a good thing to have them have some buy-in and a reason to show up and compete? If they have the financial incentive, like you're an owner of this too.
It sounds great in theory. I'd have to do more research before I speak with heavy confidence on this about past, like what had happened in the past with models that look like this. I know that, the unrivaled women's basketball 3-on-3 thing was like athlete owner, whatever, league, starting their own thing. However, historically in America, speaking from what we know as major pro sport, you need gatekeepers. Trust me, if I had the cash, if I could go get 7 of my friends who were serious millionaires, let's say 500 mil plus, if I could get 7 of my friends, Mark Cuban and friends, and we all agreed we were going to invest in pro track and we were all going to have organizations and teams, you just became my investment. Now, I'll negotiate with your players association or your athlete association, whatever you want to call yourselves. But to be clear, I'm going to have some sticking points. And I'm going to tell you, you have to run this amount of times. And you have to run this particular way. And the championship is going to look like this. Because I'm the one signing the checks. In response, you will get X amount. So when the CBA comes and we say, y'all get this amount, salary cap is this. Again, we're negotiating. But the reason the owners stand 10 toes down is because they're the ones signing the checks. The athletes say they put their bodies on the line. But these owners are the ones signing the check. They can be at a loss this year. You getting paid no matter what. But I might not actually be at a profit this year when it's done. And for that reason, that's the concern when you have the conflict of interest concern. I'd have to see the history if this has ever worked for an athlete who is also putting themselves on the line. To be able to think in terms of the business side of what makes this work. Because when the NBA players, they put the whole, the play-in game only exists. The play-in tournament, it's only there because the players stopped doing their part. It's the only reason. They stopped
Same with the in-season tournament.
They were taking games off. And then the people who signed the check said, this is messing with our bottom line. So we're going to change the rules on you to make sure that we can continue making progress to the bottom line. And it worked because now they had games that were played in April that were high quality, competitive product that people could watch on TV and they could pay money to watch because nobody wanted to watch the JV go out there and dog it when the players decided it didn't matter, but still wanted to get paid for not playing. They're like, no. I pay you to play. Y'all about to play a back-to-back. And I'm pretty sure if enough money is on the table, I think we've agreed, if we had even half of NFL money, a quarter of NFL money, I think y'all would be content to run a little bit more.
For sure. And I think Sydney proved that. Like, historically, you would say Sydney doesn't like to run. Like, she's just really good at it. But when she was on board and signed on with Grand Slam, it's like, no, she was just waiting for something that she actually thought was the right structure to actually commit to. Because she only has one Diamond League title. And, she could win it any time she wants to. But clearly, she doesn't believe in the Diamond League structure. So I think she was just waiting for an opportunity that made sense for her to run more other than the World Championships and the trials and the Olympics. And that was Grand Slam track. She believed in it. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it all the way through, but she was committed to run 8 races. She signed on for that. So I think more athletes are like that. More stars are just waiting for the structure to be built before they actually decide, all right, I'm going to buy in and be more into it.
Let's be wild. I'm gonna be wild as we close. You know what the NBA minimum contract is?
I don't know.
All right, here's the NBA minimum salary. The minimum annual salary is 1.272, so almost
Yeah.
$1.3 million.
Wow.
That's if you are a rookie and they sign you to a 1-year minimum contract, not a 2-way contract.
Nah.
So if that was, let's say that was the average salary for somebody in your position,
Mm-hmm.
how much would you be willing to run now?
Anytime
give
you
me
need
an actual number.
Name a time and a place. You want me to run the streets, in the sand, on the beach? I don't care.
Like I'm saying, like, because again, it's about TV products. So like within the realm of reality of what track athletes could do,
Right.
Like, how long do you think I could make a season, and how frequently do you think I could mandate that you and your team or your group had to go out there and compete? Like, how do you think like would be the breaking point of like I can give you this amount of product?
I would say like 3 times a month.
All right, so 3 times a month, and that season would at a high quality.
Yeah.
And if this season was in 3 times a month, let's do the math at that. 3, 6, 9, 12. So you think a 5-month season? Like,
Yeah.
could you survive a 5-month season for 1.3?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Running 3 times a month. I mean, yeah, people have injuries, people miss games or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, 'cause that's 15 competitions. So do you see how we're getting close to the NFL now?
Mm-hmm.
On terms of like how many times you have to go out there and do your job, not including the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's just to get you to the minimum.
Yeah.
But it's like, I could see how mathematically if you could scale it one day and build it one day, it could I think we could get you to the NBA minimum salary in maybe not, I mean, you'd be a GM by that time, you'd be retired, but like 7 to 10 years from now, you could be looking at a track and field league that looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
If we started building it appropriately, getting people on board, and it would be such a different sport for the next generation. I mean, I'm not pushing track on my kids at all, given this current model. But if the model adjusted, I'd be like, you know what, you might want to run track.
Hey, listen, I say the same thing. It's like in this current iteration, it'd be hard pressed for me to be like, you want to do what daddy does. This is difficult, but that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's because I want to change that, even if it's not around when I'm still running. You know, I just like the fact that we're trying stuff, and whether this team thing works next year with Athlos or the Ultimate Championship, whatever. I just wanted to try different things, so then we can at least check off the box and say that worked or that did not work, and then we're at least making progress towards building something different than what we have now. Because what we have now is just not cutting it.
Oh yeah, I think that's what. But hey, like, you see how you got to dream first though, and that's why I gave a real dollar amount. I said, let's take their minimum and say, would you accept that?
Yeah.
And you're like, from where I'm at today, I would accept that. I'm like, okay, we can't do that right now. I already told you. If everybody climbed on board and said we're gonna do a league tomorrow, we probably would have to pay you about 150. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Like to run, not what Nike does.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't take that much comparatively to other sports and the value that we could present too. It just has to be just presented the right way.
The team model is what's best for everyone. The individual model is easier to build if you do it right.
Yeah.
It's just not what's best for everybody. You're going to have a lot of people caught out in the cold with that, because that's how UFC is set up right now, where, I mean, and again, offline, we talked about, I mentioned the Ultimate Fighter, where people just desperately want a shot.
Yeah.
And they built it where everybody's willing to sacrifice to get that shot, because they know if they hit it big, they hit it big. But you have a lot of folk who are in that, the same way we have our track level athletes, they have a lot of people in that same crowd who are fighters, have pro record. They fight in Bellator and TNA Impact and all this stuff. And they just want that UFC contract. And even when you get one, it's not, just because you have a contract doesn't mean that you can eat off that money.
Right.
It's like, okay, I got in. Now I could be out. You could be out in 4 fights. Like you could get removed from UFC real fast.
Right.
Like you go 0-3, you might not even get a chance to go 0-4.
Damn.
So that's what I think a GST would turn into.
Yeah.
It would have to be cutthroat if it was really going to be an amazing pro product. That's why I'm like, if y'all can't figure out how to climb on board with the teams, that's the only way I can actually scale it to one day getting you $1 million guaranteed first in the 15th. He gonna sign these checks.
Okay.
But
well,
yeah, so
the team model is what Athlos is bringing us next year. So, you know, maybe they're on to something.
If it worked with the women, we know something will happen. Even if they didn't do it, somebody else with money will invest in the men. That's I'm like, everybody should just be rooting for Atlos's women to figure it out.
Yeah. And Alexis said he might expand it to the men. And like he said, ultimately that's where he thinks it's gonna go. So we'll see how 2026 looks. But we're at 3:05 now. I feel like that's a good place to wrap. But I appreciate everybody in the comments who've been sticking with us. It's been a great conversation for sure, talking about the future of track and field with two people who are passionate about it. You know, not a lot of people who like to talk about the nitty gritty, but you know, that's why we do what we do on YouTube. Y'all go ahead and follow Coach Rob. You know, he's got a great platform. A lot of the stuff we've talked about, he's mentioned, and he's gone in depth in videos on his platform. And, you know, I definitely feel like we'll cross paths in the future again. We'll have future lives and more posts and stuff like that because we just love track and field so goddamn much. But I appreciate you, Coach Rob, man. And any last words from you?
Truly a pleasure. That's all I gotta say. I mean, it's an honor to be a part of, you know, what you do. You know, I get to say that, you know, because of, I gotta say this for the people who don't know, because of Brendan, I can now say your teammate, I competed against an Olympic gold medalist. I lost. I was in the back, but I was in the race.
You can still say it though.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, I mean, 6 degrees of separation. So I ain't never raced you, but kind of like you did. Behind.
Y'all don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got more content on the way coming in the future. Like I said, go ahead, follow Coach Rob. We're gonna get out of here. 3:05 or 3:06 now. Appreciate you guys for sticking around on this live. But yeah, that's it for us. We're out of here, man.
All right.
Peace. Have a good night.